The Senate will be resuming debate on this motion, where we had senators giving their insights in regards to that debate that touched on a number of areas, including the affordable housing, as well as the health sector and other pillars that form the basis of President William Ruto's administration. Senators will continue with that debate this morning, highlighting some of the areas they felt the speech gave some emphasis on, and some of the areas they probably feel the president ought to have put more effort on. On your screens is the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Kathuri Murongi. He will be presiding over the business of the Senate this morning. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing.
Let's pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to build with abundant favor and blessings as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under liberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. Clerk, confirm whether you have quorum. Sergeant at Arms, ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Well, good morning to you once again. The business of the Senate has commenced this morning. The House is presided over by the Deputy Speaker of the Senate. This is Honorable Kathuri Murungi, who also serves as the Senator for Meru County. Upon the commencement of business, we have a small hitch. We don't have quorum this morning. And so, person to standing orders of the House, Standing Orders number 40, the Speaker has no other option other than to direct the Sergeant at Arms to ring the quorum bell. And for the next 10 minutes or so, you will be seeing senators walking into the chamber this morning to allow for the House to have the proper quorum of 15 senators for the House to commence business this morning. There are about 10, and we need about 5 more for the Senate to commence consideration of the business before it in today's order paper. Away from the debate on the State of the Nation Address 2025, this morning, the Senate will also be debating a motion on the report of the proceedings of Parliamentarians' dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit 2023 that was held in the National Assembly's chamber, Parliament buildings in Kenya. That was between the 3rd to the 6th day of September 2023. And this is a motion by Senator for Homa Bay County, Senator Moses Kajwang. And in this motion, he will be seeking to have the Senate note the report of the proceedings of Parliamentarians' dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit of 2023 that was held in Nairobi. After the conclusion of that summit, the team representing Parliament of Kenya laid its report on the table of the Senate on the 2nd day of October 2024. So that report of those proceedings is coming up for debate this morning. And this morning, the order paper is somewhat full of motions. Other motions lined up for consideration this morning include the mainstreaming of gender perspectives in the legislative and policy processes. This is a motion by Senator Veronica Maina, and in a motion, she is seeking to have the Senate urge Parliament, county assemblies, and their respective legislative committees to incorporate agenda analysis in the scrutiny of legislation, policies, programs, and budgets before the respective Parliament and county assemblies and their respective legislative committees. This will also be to include, through the use of gender impact assessments and consultations, gender-focused stakeholders to ensure gender-responsive governance. The Senator is also seeking to have the Senate recommend to the National Gender and Equality Commission and the State Department for Gender to develop clear guidelines and tools. These guidelines are tools to support the integration of gender perspectives in legislative, policy, and budgetary analysis, and ensure that these are disseminated and adopted by relevant government and legislative bodies. The Standing Committee on Matters Labor and Social Welfare is required under this motion to continuously monitor the implementation of the resolutions and tables by annual report on the status of implementation of the mainstreaming of gender perspectives and legislation and policy processes. Senator Hamida Kibwana has a debate that is coming up this morning, courtesy of her motion on mainstreaming a framework for clean cooking in Kenya. This motion is pegged on Article 42 of the Constitution that guarantees that every Kenyan and every person has a right to a clean and healthy environment, which includes access to safety energy options. This motion on mainstreaming a framework for clean cooking in the country is seeking to have the Senate resolve a number of things. Among the resolutions is that the Council of Governors develops a county-level policy, a framework, budgets that mainstream clean cooking into devolved energy and health function, that the National Treasury, the Ministry of Energy, prioritizes clean cooking in financing frameworks, including research-based financing and blended finance models to de-risk private investment. And finally, that the county governments engage the private sector actors and community organizations to expand clean cooking access, creation of jobs, and the reduction of pressure on forest resources. The motion on the report of the proceedings of the high-level political forum of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, that was held in the New York, United States of America on the 22nd day of July is also coming up for consideration. This is a motion by Senator Fatuma Dulo, the senator for Isiolo County, who is seeking to have the Senate note the report of the proceedings of the High-Level Political Forum of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, that was held in the USA on the 22nd day of July, the year being 2025, when we have these proceedings happening in foreign countries. We usually have members of the Senate representing Parliament of Kenya, and after the conclusion of these proceedings, be it parliamentary forums or conferences, those tasked with the responsibility of representing the National Assembly or the Senate are required to bring a report on the proceedings, and these reports are usually considered by the House courtesy of the motions presented by respective senators or members of the National Assembly. The report of the proceedings of the Parliamentarians' Dialogue at the Africa Climate Change Summit is among that particular motion or examples of where parliamentarians hold dialogues with other foreign members of parliament representing various parliaments from wherever they'll be coming from, the respective countries. This particular one was held in Nairobi, and Senator Moses Kajwang is the senator representing the Senate caucus during these particular proceedings. But away from these conferences and parliamentary dialogues, the Senate will this morning be considering the provision of IFMIS reports for the county governments to the Senate.
Sanjay, that I'm sealing the quorum bell for a further 10 minutes. Under senators, we now have quorum. Clerk, read out the first one.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion, debate on the President's address to Parliament, second day, resumption of debate interrupted on Tuesday, 25th November, 2025.
Very well. Senator Daniel Manzo, you have a balance of 11 minutes. If you so wish, you can utilize them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the presidential debate, that is what we call a sovereign investment. Mr. Speaker, the biggest investment the country can make are the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the lives of people of Kenya is very important, Mr. Speaker. And that's why health comes in very handy. The health of the people, making sure that when people get sick, get treated in good time. And to reduce diseases, Mr. Speaker, you need to have plenty of clean water supplied to Kenyans as required in the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, when there is clean water, it is easier to deal with the diseases. In fact, presence of clean water reduces diseases by half. But Mr. Speaker, what has been disturbing of this regime and of latest, following the demonstrations, Mr. Speaker, a lot of young people were killed in the country and quite a number injured. Some of some of them who are still in the hospital up to today. And the government did very little to assist them so that they may recover from bullet injuries and any other injuries inflicted by security forces, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those who have died, although a commission was set up to investigate and see possible compensation, the court has now stopped the commission, but nothing would have stopped the government from having other mechanisms, even identify the extreme cases and dealing with them, even having inquiries like in the case of Rex Masai, Mr. Speaker. The story of Rex Masai is a very sad one, Mr. Speaker, because Rex Masai was not part of the demonstrations. He was on his way to work when he got caught up. Somebody not uniformed shot him and stood there and watched him bleed to death, Mr. Speaker. When a family loses a young person who is very prospective, the trajectory of that family changes entirely, and the future of that country changes, of that family changes completely, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when we were in the University of Nairobi in the 90s, there were quite a number of riots, and even the university would be closed down. But Mr. Speaker, we did not get killed for participating in maandamano, or even for being around. A lot of times, Mr. Speaker, the students who were caught up were unawares and were not even aware that there were demonstrations around the university. And during the regime of Moi, we did not see killings as we have seen now. And I think, Mr. Speaker, Moi will restrain that. There will be arrests. And I remember even up to the year 2000, I will send quite a number of students in Makandara or Kibera courts charged with participating in demonstration, and they were all acquitted, Mr. Speaker. But we did not have killings as it is. Mr. Speaker, for example, if I was caught up in such a demonstration and a police officer or somebody shot me dead, the future of my family would have changed completely. If all the 47 senators here were shot in a university demonstration, then the Senate would be different today, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, there must be a way of making sure no more killings happen for young people who participate in constitutional or constitutionally approved demonstrations or any form of demonstration, Mr. Speaker. It is really not in good faith, Mr. Speaker, for somebody who is not harmed at all to be shot dead, or at least, there must be another way, but not killing, when dealing with demonstrations, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I do believe, even from those days when you see the demonstration at the university, if you don't bother them, they don't bother you. But the moment you provoke a demonstrator with a gunshot or a tear gas, then the whole matter changes and becomes chaotic. And therefore, the law is very clear on what should happen. There should be proclamation. There should be, people should be given time to clear. And then should they fail to do so, the same proclamation having been made loud and clear, then you can go on to safely disperse demonstrators or make sure that property is not interfered with, Mr. Speaker. So what we have seen recently is unprecedented. A lot of people have suffered. Innocent, well-meaning young people like Rex Masai died. There has been some court proceedings on the establishment of those who could be probable or could have participated or could have actually killed him. Mr. Speaker, that's not sufficient. The killer of Rex Masai, in my opinion, is cast forever. The best way to deal with this, if one knows there was a misadventure, they should have come forward and said sorry. And then reconciliation goes on, because once a life is lost, it's gone. But we must make sure in future we don't lose young people in hundreds of them. This is the future of the country. And Mr. Speaker, if we really don't preserve lives, any other plan we have for the nation doesn't matter, because you only plan and you make good plans for lives. We must first preserve lives of Kenyans so that we can go on and invest. Mr. Speaker, if you are to help with the so-called selling of state machineries or state properties to raise money for development, Mr. Speaker, an example is Kenya Pipeline. Mr. Speaker, pipeline is a fixed asset, and it is generating a lot of money for the country. Mr. Speaker, the pipeline generates 7 billion shillings every year. It is a private company fully owned by Minister of Finance, and they make this collection, Mr. Speaker. Unless you expand the pipeline to Uganda, it's a fixed asset. It's working 24 hours. Most probably, unless you sell fuel higher, it can't make more profits as such. And if you sell it to private people, they're the ones who are going to be getting the profits and put it in their pockets. So unless you are expanding to the border and to Uganda and to other countries, Mr. Speaker, that investment by selling it is not going to help the country at all. And any other state corporations be sold for this particular matter, I think is totally misguided. We just need to lower the cost of living in the country, make sure investors come to our country, they invest here, make sure the local investors' cost of power is reduced. We invest around. We'll have created enough jobs for our people. They'll pay taxes, and our country will prosper, Mr. Speaker. But selling every single asset of the country to raise money, Mr. Speaker, without having made sure that corruption is stopped in the country is a waste of time. A lot of money is lost to corruption daily in billions. Unless we make sure that ESCC is strengthened, those who have stolen from the state return or face jail. For countries like China to prosper, Mr. Speaker, there is a death sentence for a corrupt person. But there are so many cases pending at ESCC. Very few have been prosecuted by the DPP. The DPP has its role. ESCC investigates. If the investigation is not up to standard, Mr. Speaker, any corrupt person will be acquitted, and the monies will never be recovered for the benefit of the state. So our biggest problem, and even what Singapore dealt with first, what Malaysia dealt with first, was corruption. And unless we deal with corruption, Mr. Speaker, whatever sweet things, whatever sweeteners we put about the development in this country, Mr. Speaker, will never happen. Even the said development, Mr. Speaker, is done with the partners, PPPs, and even countries who want to partner with us. The dual current to Mombasa from Nairobi was meant to be done 4 or 5 years ago by the American companies. Mr. Speaker, after some time, things seem to be changing. The American companies of today are ready, but the government started shifting to China, where they can get contractors, probably will be able to collude with 1 or 2 engineers or other people who are going to do this. And we want this dual current to begin because we have already partnered, Mr. Speaker. We should really allow the Americans to do the dual current. We should go into public-private partnerships, and I'm sure we'll do the highways. Mr. Speaker, you cannot do 50 dams, meaning a dam per county, a big one, and also maybe another one to supplement the water for supply to Nairobi in one of the neighboring countries, counties, Mr. Speaker. If Thwake Dam has never been completed, Mr. Speaker, it is really ridiculous for there not to be a budget for Thwake Dam, for the government funding not to have been taken to Thwake Dam, and we keep on borrowing, Mr. Speaker, keep on having cowboy contractors who steal the borrowed money, Mr. Speaker, and it's shared with the senior government officials, and then you expect, Mr. Speaker, that we do 50 dams in this country, Mr. Speaker. Let's complete Thwake Dam, which is 96%, Mr. Speaker. The road Tamaki, most of the proposed roads, Mr. Speaker, are only 20 kilometers, Mr. Speaker. In the case of Ukia Emali in Makuene, 20 kilometers, Mr. Speaker, gets to a place called Matiriko. The remaining journey, which connects to the other Tamak Road and to Watertown, Mr. Speaker, if it's not done at all and it has a bridge, no bridges and the heavy rivers block the roads during the rainy season, Mr. Speaker, it will be a waste of time. So, Mr. Speaker, I will propose that the country be...
Senator Mofaya Gataya Mwenda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me thank you. Honorable Speaker, the presidential speech get across very many aspects of life. It imbued a lot of hope to Kenyans. Speaker, this, if you read through this speech, Honorable Speaker, you realize that Kenya is heading towards a great future. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the resolve that the President has for the agriculture, the resolve the President has for infrastructure in this country, the resolve that the President has for the economy of this country, you realize, Honorable Speaker, that Kenya will never be the same again. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the infrastructure, which is a critical element in as far as the growth of the economy is concerned, the President has captured very deeply on various roads that the President wants to expand, including the Moya Meru road, which is very critical. This need to open up areas in Meru and some parts of Isiolo, some parts of Embu, and so many other roads that have been captured, Honorable Speaker, including the road that has been promised to be launched. This is the Loni Mau Road, which is going to open areas in some parts of the western part of this country. That is the only way, Honorable Speaker, this country can benefit from this kind of arrangement, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would urge Kenyans to be patient because I know I've had a lot of sentiment expressed by quite a number of people regarding the economy and so forth. But Honorable Speaker, let's be very sincere. We are not where we were in 2022 when this government took over. We have seen some very serious changes. We have seen a very drastic moves, especially in the housing project. We have seen changes in the sham arrangements and so forth. So, Honorable Speaker, it is important for this country to realize that it takes a bold decision, it takes some courage, it takes some serious decisions for leadership to shape this country. We cannot shape the country through rhetoric. And I'm happy that the President has realized this. That's why he has taken some very hard decisions to make sure that some of the projects that have been abandoned by the previous regimes have been initiated, however painful. And I'm very sure in the future, Kenyans will just come to realize that what the President was doing for this country was for the benefit of the generations to come. So I'm happy, Honorable Speaker. On agriculture, Honorable Speaker, I think there are quite a number of issues, including the expanded irrigation projects across the country. And on education, Honorable Speaker, it is also important that we realize that the country is heading towards the right direction. So in this arrangement, Honorable Speaker, I wish to support the President and the government, and I'm happy that Kenyans are going to realize the fruits of these serious and decisions that the government is taking. Honorable Speaker, I thank you and I support.
Okay, Senator Wakili Hillary.
That was quick. You had. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to have comments on the speech by the President that we heard the previous week. Mr. Speaker, I've taken time to read the speech. I listened through the speech on the day the President gave us his constitutional requirement on that particular day. And Mr. Speaker, it reminded me of the Holy Book, the Book of Proverbs 29:18, that Mr. Speaker says, where there is no vision, the people perish. In this speech, Mr. Speaker, the President indeed gave a vision to the people of Kenya. He started by saying that he had a story to tell. And the story began by highlighting the journey that we have begun as a country. It started by giving us the promises he made when he campaigned to be the president of this country. It went ahead to explain the things that have been done, the attempts that have been done, and Mr. Speaker gave us a number of statistics in form of what he called hard evidence of what achievements the government has achieved in the period that it has been in power. And I believe that is the beginning of what he called the direction that we would want to take this Kenya forward. Without that vision, Mr. Speaker, I believe I and you and the rest of the Kenyans who definitely had hopes of growth, development, improvement, and also taking Kenya to the next level have for the longest been looking forward to. It is given, Mr. Speaker, that it is not possible to say that whatever the president on that particular day spoke of has an element of clean, unchallenged issues that comes with it. It is one of the places where we all look at as a basis of improvement in terms of economy of the country and the sectors that the president spoke to. And Mr. Speaker, as a Kenyan, as a leader sitting in this house, it gave me a challenge, especially in the specific areas that he highlighted, where he has a vision as a leader and sought for the support, not only of those leaders who are in office, but the rest of the Kenyans to make sure that that is achieved. And granted, Mr. Speaker, we always will have the naysayers, we always will have those who can pose challenges, but the idea behind the speech by the president was an inspiration. He gave us examples of the first world countries. He gave us examples of the Western tigers, where they were before, where they are now. I believe that history, that example that he picked of not one, not two, but many countries who were where we were almost at the same time as Kenya and where they are now. They have progressed. They have grown not because of anything but the vision that the leaders of those countries have carried and the support that they have achieved from reaching out to the rest of the residents of those countries for them to be where they are. And of course, when he said it can be done, it is possible that it can be done. It cannot be done by one person. It cannot be done by himself alone. It can be done by the rest of us as Kenyans and as leaders in this house. I think he posed to us a challenge, which challenge I believe most of us, those who have spoken to this speech, have said it. Some have said this was a speech which did not have programs specific to implementations, but I listened to it, I've looked at it, and I know it is a speech that inspires many to ask of ourselves, what is it that we can do at our level to support this vision, to support the programs that have been started, so that those who are ongoing are implemented in conclusion. Those who are yet to start can be started without necessarily getting obstacles that will derail the implementation, and ultimately it will derail the benefit that we are looking at as Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, to be very specific in a number of the areas that the President highlighted, it would be prudent of me to also pick them, because he told us that he's convinced that where we are is the beginning of most of the ideas that he had. Having said that, he has a story to tell. He also gave us a progress report on a number of issues. Mr. Speaker, among the areas that the President gave us highlights as areas where we have progressed is the inflation of this country, which was at 9.6% in the year 2022 when he got into office, until where we are now at 4.6. I believe that every Kenyan do appreciate the fact that we are not where we were in the time the President William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza government took office. This is an improvement that is supported and everyone acknowledges. At least, Mr. Speaker, we are speaking, if we are not even agreeing with this speech, we are speaking about an improvement. Whether it is 4.6 as is laid out in his speech or 9.6, the conversation is that the condition of this country in terms of inflation is not where we were 3 years ago. It might not be where he said, which I dare to say it is, because the statistics that he gave us, the statistics that we do have in form of the exchange rate of the dollar, for example, Mr. Speaker, was at the time of him taking over power 167. It was soaring. Right now, it has been stable for the last almost 1 year at 129. That, in my view, Mr. Speaker, is an improvement that we cannot ignore. The GDP of this country has grown. It continues to grow. And, Mr. Speaker, the President said, this is the report card that is asking Kenyans to support and ensure that whatever programs that is laid out needs the support, needs the implementation of the Kenyans to make sure that we improve and we sustain that improvement going forward. Mr. Speaker, the aspect on the agriculture, because he highlighted 3 specific things. He spoke about agriculture, spoke about education, spoke about the infrastructure. And Mr. Speaker, it is indeed true, and it's a fact, that implementation of the subsidy program on agriculture has improved the food production. It has improved cash payments to those farmers, whether in the coffee sector, sugar sector. It has largely grown from where it was to where it is now, courtesy of this program that was implemented by the government of President William Ruto. I come from a tea growing zone. The statistics he gave us in paragraph 49 of his speech spoke about an improvement of from 138 billion in the year 2022 to Kenya shillings 215 billion in the year 2024. This, Mr. Speaker, is, according to his speech, a 56% improvement in the tea sector. Part of the greatest challenge, and Mr. Speaker, I am aware last week you were hosting the committee in your county that is seeking to establish the discrepancy and the differences in terms of earnings to the farmers in the tea sector. The improvement the President is referring to in this paragraph does not, in some areas, reflect what the farmer down there is earning from the tea sector. And Mr. Speaker, I'm happy that as part of an improvement program and as part of an inquiry as to this distinction is what that committee is doing. And the people from Bomet, from Kericho, from your area that are not directly benefiting from these statistics, and of course I know they will say this is not true, is largely attributed to not only the growth that the President spoke about, but to the management style and the governance that we have had in those institutions that are managing the tea sector in the west of the Rift and the east of the Rift. Mr. Speaker, I believe that once that particular committee concludes on its investigation and inquiry, we shall be able to directly appreciate the fact that the 56% improvement that the Speaker, that the President referred to in his speech is in the larger this sector, but the silos of the specific regions that have got challenges, because it is not explainable why a farmer doing tea in the east of the Rift is getting a price of 57 plus Kenya shillings per kilogram, while the other one is getting even less than 50% of that. Mr. Speaker, I believe this will be one of those things that we are putting the team that is involved in that committee to give us an appropriate explanation as to why the discrepancy and why the difference in terms of an alleged improvement of 56% when the farmers are saying we are not directly benefiting from this particular sector. Mr. Speaker, the reforms that the President spoke about as regards what I said, the agriculture, has led to improvement on food security. It has definitely raised the income to the farmer, and I believe that as a consequence, we have improved on our export earnings, not only limited to the agriculture sector, but related areas, including industrialization, where if we were to go by the vision and get the support that it is asking for, Mr. Speaker, we will largely improve, and Kenyans will, out of this program develop. Mr. Speaker, when he spoke about the development, the improvement, the governance in the health sector, he gave us statistics about the health promoters, gave us statistics about the beneficiaries who have directly benefited from the program of the government to pay those who are unable to pay for themselves at a premium being paid to Kenyans. 2.3 million vulnerable Kenyans benefited. Mr. Speaker, health is wealth. Where one member of a family is unhealthy, the rest of the family members are to be sick because they are directly, or the issue would be that all are thinking what is going to happen next in terms of the hospital bills, in terms of the home care, in terms of every other obligation that comes to a relative, a member of a family, to take care of a sick brother, sister, mother, child, or parent. In this case, Mr. Speaker, the improvement that this has been done through the changes in the universal health introduction of SHA, which despite the bottlenecks and also the teething problems, it has transformed the health sector in a manner that I, as one of the people who in most of cases have experienced an improvement, because the reduction in the amount of the requisitions that we receive for purposes of support is going down by the day. This program has got its challenges. It is appreciated that going forward and over time, we will definitely improve. And the most important, and where I was very happy about, is the proposal that the government, as at beginning 1st of December 2025, will have an increase in SHA cancer benefits package from Kenya shillings 550,000 to Kenya shillings 800,000. If anything, Mr. Speaker, this is one area that I must say we should support to ensure that we improve and implement on this proposal. Bomet County, for example, is one area that we have got a rampant cases of cancer. Very many fundraisers that we are called upon every day, Mr. Speaker, is towards supporting families with patients who are undergoing chemotherapy sessions continuously. And therefore, this improvement and this enhancement will go a long way in supporting those families as well as those who are generally called upon to support in form of fundraisers. And this, Mr. Speaker, is one of those scorecards that the President said we are improving. We began by changing the law. It is one thing to appreciate the fact that the law has come into place. It is another thing to make sure that that law is implemented, and it goes a long way because there is goodwill, and this goodwill, if it spills over to the county governments where we are having a number of our health institutions, because health is a default function. Mr. Speaker, I know this will improve Kenyans, this will take Kenya to the next level, and I want to applaud the President for taking the next step in ensuring that despite the challenges that we have enrolled over 27 million Kenyans in this SHA program, and out of this
Senator Wakili, you are not observant on your timing. Let me give him 30 seconds to put a full stop.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say this is one of the speeches that the President, by conclusion, asked Kenyans to support the vision that he is carrying for the people of Kenya so that Kenya can go to the next level. And I want to say it is in this presidency that it can be done, it is possible, it requires of us to do the role and the mandates that we are given as members of this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next is Senator Okoiti Andrew Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to comment on this very important governance tool that is created in the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The tool is the annual address to the nation by the President, the joint sitting of the Houses by the President. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the address for this year, President Ruto paints a very visionary picture of Kenya's transformation through massive investments in irrigation, transport, and innovative financing mechanisms. Gerson quotes great leaders, and he frames this as non-negotiable steps towards food security, industrial growth, and economic empowerment or economic independence. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, the rhetoric glosses over a troubling pattern over promising on infrastructure while under-delivering amid corruption scandals, fiscal recklessness, and deepening inequality. With Kenya's public debt exceeding 11 trillion, with a huge component of which is odious, cannot be traced or tied to any project, youth unemployment reaching levels that could not even be imagined, above 35%. The priorities the President presents will make the situation worse and not resolve them. And so, Mr. Speaker, the vivid picture of mega dams, boundless energy, gleaning infrastructure, must not blind us. The grandeur of vision must subject itself to critical blueprint. Where is the blueprint to achieve what the President promises? Having listened to His Excellency, having read his speech, I have been struggling to see the blueprint. There is no blueprint in that speech. The speech is largely a case of wishful thinking. It ignores the present. It does not address the socioeconomic and environmental costs. And then the mirage of financing. A debt trap by another name is being given to us as a promise of a bright future. They look at privatization as the panacea. Has no basis. Privatization, we have had privatization in this country. I come from Western Kenya. We had Mumias Sugar Company, thriving, a blue chip company, fully owned by the Kenyan state, privately managed by Bukatet. Then what happened? We were told to privatize. Mumias Sugar Company was privatized. Go to Mumias today, see what is there. The company was ripped apart. We must distinguish between ownership and management. Is the problem management or is the problem ownership by the state? You have been told that KPC is going to be privatized and is in the process of being privatized. And that when they privatized Kenya Pipeline Company, more Kenyans will have an opportunity to own it. Arrant nonsense. I thought that right now, all Kenyans own KPC. When it's owned by the ministry, by the state, it's owned by every Kenyan. Where does the narrative come out that KPC, when being privatized, will now result in more Kenyans owning it? Unless we're talking about privileged and well-connected Kenyans capturing it, state capture, capturing those assets. So, I think His Excellency should have done better and given us a blueprint on exactly how he achieves what. The other thing is a debate we must address between the primacy of political action versus the determinism of the market. His Excellency cannot present the determinism of the market as a solution to a developing economy like ours. Primary action must be political action. And political action must be fashioned around the laws of the country. I didn't hear the president address the question of odious debt and how he's going to deal with it and how he's going to recover the monies that have been stolen from the public and are stashed out. Well, I didn't expect him to address odious debt because just in the recent past, through something called Nyota or whatever, an arrangement between himself and the World Bank has added 13 billion shillings to debt that has been acquired outside the constitutional procedure for incurring debt. He's bribing the population with handouts. No formula, no blueprint, no marking scheme, no way of monitoring and evaluating what is going on. Total chaos. Chaos cannot be the crucible from which you can fashion development. If we want to develop, we must imitate the developed. We must look at the critical sectors of the economy. We must look at governance. What are we spending money on? We have one of the largest governments since independence, bloated, obese, unhealthy. Too many principal secretaries, duplicious, doing nothing. When you look at the statement of actual revenue and net expenditure issues that is released by the Treasury every 21 days after the end of every month, you see a litany of abuse of our public finances that tells you there's no intention to develop this country. On the floor of this House, I've raised a statement about 19.6 billion shillings, which was spirited out or siphoned out of the consolidated fund using a vote head for consolidated finance services. Mr. Speaker, it's a very sad day for me It was a very sad day for me sitting and listening to that speech. Look at a concept like the various funds that are being talked about, Weather Fund, the Women Fund, whatever fund, and you. You look at Article 206 of the Constitution, it tells you how to establish a fund. It must be established by an Act of Parliament. Where is the Act of Parliament establishing the Weather Fund or the Women's Fund or whatever, all these funds we have? Secondly, when these funds are set up, they cannot take money from the consolidated fund. Funds must be financed by money excluded from the consolidated fund. So we celebrate and we believe that we shall break the law to achieve progress. There is no choice between the law and development in this country. There's no choice. If we want to develop, we must follow the law. If we don't want to develop, then we break the law. There's no choice. The law and development are not mutually exclusive. The law and development are two legs upon which this nation must walk. Assuming the nation is a human being, if there are four legs, if it's a four-legged animal. So, His Excellency's speech to me was simply a public relations exercise. It was simply for him to demonstrate his skills at public speaking. He speaks very well in the public, and he did well. But it was devoid of substance, devoid of a blueprint, devoid of a marking scheme. And it ignores the real economy. It talks nothing about the crisis in education and health. It praises SHA. Yes, SHA is a premium funded, you pay premiums to belong to SHA without discussing its pros and its words and all image. You have to pay a premium to access SHA. On the other hand, it's masquerading as universal health care, Mr. Speaker, across the world, beginning with the United Kingdom and most of Europe. And even this country where when you and me were kids, there was universal health care. Those days when you could get aspirin tablets branded GOK, and you walked in any clinic and you'd be treated and you go home. Universal health care can only be funded by direct taxes. Just like a road built by taxes and anybody can walk on it. Once you introduce premiums, it ceases being universal. It's only available to those who can pay. And so, continuing to fool Kenyans that we have got universal health care in this country is not acceptable. When you go to education, Article 53 of the Constitution is very clear. Every child is entitled to free and compulsory basic education. A child is anybody under 18. His Excellency runs a government that gives us fee structures. What is a fee structure? For primary schools, for secondary schools? You see our kids on the roads every day being sent home. Who is imposing these fees? Is it constitutional? His Excellency.
Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for an opportunity to comment on the State of the Nation address by His Excellency Honorable William Samoei Ruto. First, to thank Kenyans for creating the tool of the State of the Nation address, because this is an accountability tool that provides for an opportunity for the head of state to address Kenyans, not just Parliament, address Kenyans through the House in which they are represented, and inform Kenyans on what he has done and where he is going. So I'd like to congratulate him for sticking to this mandate and following it. And I have read through the address, and I would want to congratulate the head of state and his government for the accomplishments that they have had, for the projects they have so delivered, and would hope that they will relook where they have not done well in order to move forward. As an accountability tool, the President spoke to the various projects that he has done in the different sectors, and I would urge all Kenyans, the best way to determine whether these projects are there or not is to just check. If there is a road that has been claimed to have been done in County X or in place X, I believe it is a physical feature that can actually be identified. So I would ask and I would urge Kenyans and their representatives as ourselves to be able to cross-check what is in this statement and what is actually on the ground. Now, there is a number of policy decisions that the President spoke to, and I would want to speak to a few of them, noting the kind of time we have. The President spoke about what he is doing or how he is guiding the nation to deliver on healthcare and on universal healthcare. As a matter of fact, I would want to say that the Azimio team and the Kenya Kwanza teams both promised Kenyans that if they come to government, they will deliver universal health care. Honorable Speaker, the right to health as provided in Article 43 of the Constitution is perhaps one of the most important rights, in the sense that a human being who does not have health care is unlikely to be able to enjoy the other rights. So the promise of universal health care is a promise that every country must plan to have. And I think every manifesto in this country promised universal health care. Honorable Speaker, this government moved us from the NHIF to the SHA arrangement in terms of the financing of healthcare in the country, and the number of registered members in SHA now are more than triple the number that was there in NHIF. And the President spoke to this issue, and we would want to congratulate the government that we have more people signed to the SHA, but what I did not hear the President speak about is the challenges that have emerged as SHA is being implemented. I would want the President to keenly listen to the complaints that are being raised by on the implementation of SHA in the different locations, and to be able to get his team to come together and find out how can we correct whatever looks bad. Honorable Speaker, sometimes when we speak as politicians, we make it look as if NHIF was operating well. I think if you look at the audit reports around NHIF, we had a lot of issues in NHIF. I would want the president to be able to filter the key issues that were negative about NHIF, to also listen to what is being said about SHA that is not working, and to get his team to respond to that. That way, the ambitious program to get every household covered in healthcare then will be achieved. Honorable Speaker, we must not kid ourselves. For us to be able to handhold each household on healthcare will require exponential amounts of monies. And whether we get them from taxes or whatever innovation we come up with, the people of Kenya will collectively bear that burden. So it is an issue that I would urge all of us to innovatively look at, and I would urge government to also listen so that we are able to move on this issue. Honorable Speaker, the other issue that the President spoke about was education. The President, this government has done well in employing more teachers. We need more teachers to be employed. We have students receiving capitation. But Honorable Speaker, I think the bulk of our students, particularly after the O-levels, are not able to find their way into tertiary institutions to get the skills that we need for enterprise. My take would be that the head of state should again find out which is this innovative way in which we can invest better for education to truly be an equitable asset for every Kenyan. Honorable Speaker, in his 4 points, the head of state talked about establishing a state department that will deal with matters, science, and research. I would want to congratulate the President for this, for the reason that the world is now being driven by technology, digital technology in particular, and science is what we require right now to operationalize the industrial parks that we've been speaking about. Honorable Speaker, it is good to note that this government has seen the large gap or the huge gap of previous governments not investing enough in our universities, not investing enough in science, not investing enough in technology. And I would hope that that promise, which is the first among his 4 points, next steps, will be taken seriously. Honorable Speaker, I represent the Senate in the IPU, and I serve on the Science and Technology Committee, and one of the things that I imagine is that as the world develops digitally and technologically, it is also creating the biggest gap in terms of inequity among the poor nations, the poor persons, and those who have it. This is also happening in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, we have learners in universities from poor families who are not able to learn at par in an age where university has made virtual learning to be the bulk of the methodology of learning. We have students who have very basic phones, and they are typing on those phones. They are latching around areas with bundles in order to be able to participate. While their colleagues who come from able families have top of the state-of-the-art laptops and are actually having their studies better enabled. So I would urge that the President, to back up his number 1 next step, must invest in the public digital infrastructure. I would want to hear the way he's speaking about the physical infrastructure in terms of roads. I would want to see the public digital infrastructure enabled in all places, in the markets, in the rural areas, so that the children of the poor can equally participate in the digital economy, can equally participate in the digital learning, and be able to get skills to participate in the future of this country. Honorable Speaker, we want to grow agriculture to bring value addition. that value addition cannot happen unless we have science and technology around the tools we need to use for our small-scale farmers to be able to participate in what we are talking about. I see the yellow light, and I would want to move to something that I felt the President could have commented on, and he did not. Honorable Speaker, as the Senate, as a senator, I would have wanted to see the President's pronouncement on how we will improve the intergovernmental relations between the national government and the county government in order to better deliver services. I would have also wanted to see how we can have better multi-sectoral cooperation among the different sectors in order to deliver services better. I would want to urge the President, if he were to be listening, that it is better for this country when they go to cabinet not to have departments that are acting in silos. We would want to have departments that are supporting each other in order for the resource that we have to actually be stretched enough to deliver on all that we need to deliver. I would also want to urge, on the point of science and technology, that the Senate and the National Assembly actually set up science and technology committees to be able to oversight the department that is coming up on science and technology, because that is going to be the key driver of where we are going next. And as you can see, it is the #1 next step for the President. So I'm urging that we all consider this, looking at that, readjust ourselves, because we are that monitoring and evaluation mechanism. We are that oversight mechanism that should be assisting to see whether we can hold the President accountable to what he has said. So I'm urging that we as Parliament also readjust, organize ourselves in order to create the relevant committees that will be able to deliver on this issue. As I finalize, speaking about interconnectivity, I would want to see better interconnectivity or interrelations between the agriculture and the health sector. Honorable Speaker, without going far, I would want the President to take keener interest in the dumping by Europe of poisons that are being used in the agriculture sector in this country and that are making our produce not to be competitive out there, but as well as actually harming the health of our people. I would want to see him be champion an operational scheme, a regulatory scheme, noting that national government is the one in charge of regulations, to ensure that we put in place standards that are not poisoning our people, harming our health, but also making us not to be competitive in terms of our produce that we are exporting to other countries. So even as I speak to this, I would want to see the President picking these issues that are actually harming us and encouraging the kind of regulation that will enable us to be able to work on this. Finally, I was disappointed. I would have wanted to listen or to hear the President speak broadly about the issue of security, particularly excesses within the police. It would have helped, and I make reference to the 10-point that we have, 10-point agenda that we have as ODM with the Kenya Kwanza government. We are keen, being a rights-based party, we are keen on ensuring that we get justice for those who have been harmed where excessive force was used. It would have been kind for the President to speak to the issue of security in this country, to assure the people of Kenya, particularly the youth of Kenya, that as we move forward, we are creating the necessary discipline within our forces to ensure that, one, we exercise our democracy in a manner that befits the constitution of our country, but at the same time that we are So as I finalize, I look forward to a greater oversight mechanism, which I believe starts with this House. It is not an oversight that is established by the president, but it's an oversight that must be established by this House to be able next year to hold the head of state accountable to say, you said you would do this, did you?
Very well, next is Senator Mudiki Alexander Muni.
Okay, asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi niweze kuchangia mjadala unayoendelea kuhusu statement ambaye rais alisoma siku ya Alhamisi. Ni kushukuru sana kwa sababu ya serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ya William Ruto na pia serikali ya muungano na ile kazi amefanya kwa kipindi ya miaka 3. Kwa sababu yeye naweza kusema ni shujaa, kwa sababu isipokuwa ni Mwenyezi Mungu atungekuwa tumefika pahali tuko, kwa sababu alijaribu sana wakati tulichagua na kulitokea vita ya hapa na pale, lakini baadaye akakumbali pia watu wa opposition kama ODM yese kuingia kwa serikali, na hata kama watu wengine walikasirika, saa hii bahali tuko tunaendelea vizuri sana kwa sababu ni serikali ya muungano ya William Ruto na pia mawaziri na pia makamu wake Profesa Abraham Kithure. Mambo mengi kutoka kwa hii kipindi ya miaka 2 tumeona tukiendelea vizuri. Kwa hivyo ni pongezi kwa rais wa Kenya kwa kukubali kufanya na kila mmoja na kufanya na kaunti zote 47 na pia magavana wote. Kwa sababu ingekuwa ni watu wengine hatungekuwa tumefika pahali tuko, kwa sababu angekubali watu wa opposition wakuje kwa serikali. Kwa hivyo mimi naunga mkono kwa ile kazi anaendelea kufanya. Na pia mimi nakosoa wale watu wanapinga hii serikali kwa sababu ya budget mpaka ingekuwa kubwa sana Bwana Spika, kwa sababu anafanya na kaunti zote, afanyi na wale watu walimchagua, wale wakumchagua na walimchagua anafanya pamoja. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, naunga hii mjadala mkono. Bwana Spika, yale aligusia ni mambo ya agriculture, na mambo ya agriculture katika kwa hii kipindi inaendelea vizuri, na ninaongea kuhusu agriculture kwa sababu Bwana Spika ni mimi mwenyekiti mdogo wa kiti ya mambo ya agriculture. Mambo ya agriculture Bwana Spika, kwa kipindi ya miaka 3 wakati hii serikali iliingia kwa uongozi, mambo ya kahawa, manjani, makandamia, masiwa na vitu zingine ilikuwa bei ya juu. Na pia tunajua mambo ya agriculture iko kibao kwa hii serikali, kwa sababu kila mtu uli ameenda nyumbani na uli anjaenda, uli anafanya kazi na uli afanyi. Saa hii mambo yote imerudi mambo ya agriculture. Na saa hii kama kahawa ilikuwa pesa kidogo, na saa hii kilo moja inatoka shilingi 150. Mambo ya manjani ilikuwa 40, saa hii inatoka 70. Mambo ya maziwa ilikuwa 35, saa hii Bwana Spika inatoka 45, na tunataka iendelee mpaka ifike shilingi 50. Bwana Spika aliongea mambo mengi sana mazuri ya agriculture, kwa sababu Bwana Spika kitu inaitwa kama ni fertilizer ilikuwa shilingi 7,000, na akangangana Bwana Spika saa hii subsidized fertilizer inafikia mwananchi masinani ikiwa natoka 2,000 na 2,500. Na pia mahindi na vile vitu ya kupanda pia tumeona ikienda masinani. Kwa hivyo mambo ya agriculture inafanya vizuri. Yale akuhusia Bwana Spika ni mambo ya mirasi kumugoka, na tunaomba pia wakati ule mwingine anjaribu kusaidia pia wale watu wanalima mrasi kumugoka, ndio iwe variation kama sile vitu zingine, na pia kutafutia watu wale wanalima mrasi kumugoka soko uko nje kama vile manjani, kahawa na kila kitu inafanya kuhusu agriculture. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mambo ya agriculture amejaribu sana, na mambo mengine amejaribu. Bwana Spika, mambo mengine aligusia ni kuhusu havya. Kutoka mambo ya havya alisema mambo ya saa, na saa imesaidia watu wengi sana. Wale watu wote tumeona Bwana Spika, mambo ya saa, tunajua vijana wetu wale wanaendesha mbonda wakigongwa na gari. Bwana Spika, wakati wa zamani walikuwa wanachangiwa pesa, wale wachangiwi pesa wanaumia miguu, wamevunjwa, lakini pandaye wanakufa tu. Lakini siku hizi vijana wetu wale waendesha mbunda ama accident yoyote, mtu akivunjika mguu ama kivua ama mgongo ama wapi, akienda hospitali kama amekuwa injectors, Bwana Spika, anahudumiwa vizuri na anarudi nyumbani vizuri, na tumeona mambo ya sasa imesaidia. Kwa sababu wale watu wengi, Bwana Spika, wao katika hii bunge, mara mingi tulikuwa changa, tunaenda kwa harambee, pesa yetu haikuwa inatosha, lakini siku ya leo mambo ya harambee kwa heshimiwa imepungua kidogo. Kwa hivyo mambo ya afya anajaribu kurekebisha. Bwana Spika, mambo ingine aligusia ni mambo ya parapara. Mambo ya parapara katika kaunti 47 hakuna saa hii parapara ile kidogo ambaye sinaenda masinani, nyingi zimeenda kuwekwa lami kwa sababu alisema atafanya na kaunti zote 47. Bwana Spika, mambo ya dual carriage, ingekuwa ni marais wengine wangekuwa na mambo ya kuganya kaunti na wale wengine. Na Bwana Spika, wakati aliongea mambo ya dual carriage, moja wale watafaidika na dual carriage ni watu wa Mauti Kenya, aswa Embu County, Tharaka Nithi County na Meru, kwa sababu dual carriage imetoka Nairobi mpaka Makutano inaenda Nyeri, na hapo alisema ataongezea, lakini dual carriage nyingine, Bwana Spika, itatoka Makutano iende Embu, iende Tharaka Nithi na pia iende Meru na ipite huko mbele. Kwa hiyo mambo ya parapara kidogo simewekwa rami, na pia nagundua niko na hapa ya kwamba kama kaunti ya Embu ni sile imevaindika na ile parapara kidogo ya rami, na najua kama anafanya kaunti zote mambo ya parapara ya rami, hata kaunti zingine imebenefit. Kwa hivyo nataka kusema mambo ya parapara yangu ni kusema aendelea kufanya hiyo kazi, na vile amesema itangazwe na iwekwe kwa gazeti, ndio kama sasa hiyo parapara ya Embu kutoka Makutano kwenda Embu kwenda Tharaka Nithi na kwenda Meru iweze ya kusaidia sisi. Pia Bwana Spika, na munga mkono kwa sababu kuna daranza ambaye ya Tharaka Nithi ambaye imeua watu wengi sana, na ninajua hata kama siku wako siku aligusia, ningeomba hata kama hiyo itasaidia watu wa Meru na wa Embu na wale wengine, kwa sababu imeua watu wengi. Bwana Spika, naunga mkono kwa sababu aliongea mambo ya nyumba, na mambo ya nyumba saa hii kila county nyingi iko na industrial park, na pia kama ya Embu iko na 85%. Mambo ya housing, kaunti nyingi manyumba endelea kujengwa. Wale watu mama mboga, wale watu wana pesa, wale walikuwa na shinda kuwatoa kwa silabu na kuwapatia manyumba, pia hiyo kazi amejaribu kuangana kusaidia, ndio kuonekane matajiri bereni walikuwa wanajipiga kivua. Lakini saa hii hata nyumba ya pesa kidogo, vijana wetu mama mboga na wale watu wengine hata wenyewe wajivunie kulala kwa manyumba ya mawe na manyumba ya ngoroba kama wale watu wengine. Kwa sababu watu wengine wasikia umbaya, kwa sababu najua miaka ikiendelea tukienda kumalizia kila mtu atakuwa na nyumba, na wale watu mateberi wale wako na manyumba ya kondesha ndio sasa wako na shinda, kwa sababu walikuwa wanajua watakuwa wakinyanyasha watu. Bwana Spika, mambo ya elimu pia aligusia. Bwana Spika, mambo ya elimu hakujawahi kuonekana kwa hiyo kipindi ya miaka ingine mtu ameajiri walimu kama wale wameajiriwa na serikali ya William Ruto. Wakati ameingia kwa kipindi ya miaka 3, Bwana Spika, ameajiri walimu 70,000, kitu ya maajabu. Na pia saa hii ametangaza ataajiri walimu wengine 20,000. Na pia mambo ya TVET, kila county iko na TVET, walimu wengi sana wa TVET wameajiriwa. Kwa hiyo mambo ya elimu amejaribu kuinua, hata kama kuna changamoto kidogo ama kuna shinda ya pesa ya kupeleka kwa shule, watoto wetu wako na shinda, iende ikawa ni hapo arainishe vizuri. Bwana Spika, aongee na Treasury, ndio Treasury iwe ikituma pesa ya kusaidia wanafunzi mapema kuliko kusherehesha. Bwana Spika, mambo mengine aligusia ni mambo ya pia ya dams. Mambo ya dams, kaunti nyingi imebenefit. Kama najua Kitui kuna damu inajengwa, na pia katika Embu County kuna damu, tuko na damu 3. Lakini Bwana Spika, mambo ya maji, kuna damu ya those ambayo itafaidisha watu wa Runyenjes na watu wa Mbere South, pale kuna by election, tuweze kuona kilimo yetu itaendelea vizuri, kwa sababu kilimo ya huko inaendelea vizuri, lakini unakuta mambo kama hakuna maji kilimo yaendelee vizuri. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi naunga mkono. Kwa hiyo ningemuomba ile damu iweze kujengwa haraka uwezekanavyo, ndio ile kilimo yetu ya mirathi tukumukaa ukute inaendelea vizuri. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi nasema serikali hii ya William Ruto inaendelea kufanya kazi vizuri, na serikali ya broad based yangu ni kusema Bwana Spika, kuna watu wapinga hii maneno, na watu nataka niwaambie hata Rome haikujengwa na siku moja. Ni tumpe nafasi. Kwa hii kipindi imebakia ya miaka 2 tuweze kuona atafanya kazi namna gani, na pia tuombe Mungu hiyo miaka 2 ikiisha pia tuwape nafasi na makamu wake Profesa Abraham Kithure, tuone kama tutaongezea miaka ingine 5 ndio tuweze kuona mambo ya maendeleo inaenda namna gani. Pia Bwana Spika aligusia mambo ya kazi. Hata kama aliajiri walimu, kuna mambo anaendelea kutengeneza mambo ya kazi manjuu. Ingawa iko na changamoto, kuna shinda hapa na pale, mambo ya kazi kule majuu imeleta shinda kidogo, lakini tunaomba serikali iweze kulainisha vizuri, kwa sababu vijana wetu wale wana kazi hapa, watu wengi wampata kazi kule. Mambo tu ni waziri walipa aweze kuangalia na ambassador vile mambo itatainisha, ndio vijana wetu na wasichana wetu wasiwe wakumia mambo ya kazi majuu. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, mimi nikiwa senator wa Embu County naunga mkono hii serikali ya muungano, na pia ile kazi inafanya serikali ya William Ruto na makamu wake Profesa Abraham Kithure, na pia na mawaziri na mambo ya accountability. Shinda tu ni kuomba tu wale watu wamesembea kazini watimuliwe, ndio vijana wetu waweze kupata kazi. Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, nikiwa senator wa Embu County Alexander Munyimudigi daktari, mimi naunga mkono mambo ya hii mjadala. Asante sana Bwana Spika.
Asante Daktari Mudigi. Sasa tunaenda kwa Senator Consolata Nabwire.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute towards the State of the Union Address, otherwise known as State of the Nation Address by His Excellency President Dr. William Samoei Ruto on 20th of November 2025. I want to back what most of the senators have presented in lauding the policy decisions that are value-loaded as presented by His Excellency. And I have tried to summarize them, and I realize they are pegged on social amenities, all revolving around health, education, infrastructure, irrigation, food security, and technology. I'm encouraged by the deliberate measures the government has taken to secure equity, social justice, and dignity for all. I come from a county that has various categories of citizens, where we have women, we have youths, we have the elderly, people living with disabilities, which are normally encompassed in a bracket known as the vulnerable groups. And these groups keenly listened to the presidential address, and over the weekend when I went home, I think for the first time I received some positive comments from the address by the president, despite a few whispers of maybe due to uncompleted projects or some that are underway. But 3/4 of the comments were positive, and I want to laud that. I want to affirm the support for the transformational agenda that encompasses the transformative projects that the president highlighted in his address. And I want to break them down into the following elements. One, about protection and empowerment of the vulnerable groups. I want to welcome the clear government commitment to vulnerable Kenyans under the Social Health Authority, that is the famous SHA. Now we have 27 million members registered under SHA, more than triple the number of the previous NHIF. So that is a plus. And maybe what we would like to encourage is to have an enhanced cancer coverage, diabetes screening, hypertension screening, and other communicable and non-communicable diseases to be encompassed in that. The presidential directive that 2.3 million vulnerable Kenyans, including widows, have their health insurance paid by the state. So what most of the senators have presented is that still there are some whispers about SHA. So maybe the relevant authorities, we cannot keep directing everything to the president. He has delegated some of these duties to the cabinet secretaries, the PSS, and all those other members that represent various ministries and departments. So it is a clarion call that the members they roll up their sleeves in overseeing the work in their departments. I want to add that we call for prioritized registration, follow-up and monitoring to ensure vulnerable groups, especially the widows, the youths, people with disabilities, from rural communities benefit fully from these initiatives. We also want to advocate for targeted economic programs for widows, including access to Hustler Fund, credit repair, and MSE support. Widows, women, and other vulnerable groups normally have a challenge. Therefore, in this address, we want to point out that there is need to advocate for to encourage the rollout of legal support structures for widows, especially who are facing land disputes, inheritance issues, or economic exclusion. And as a leader, I also advocate the same for the widowers, because we have widows and widowers. Although from the community where I come from, widows outweigh the widowers. But still, we have to support them because there are some who are very vulnerable. Looking at healthcare, this is a lifeline for the vulnerable-headed households. So I want to applaud the nationwide deployment of 107 community health promoters who happen to be the primary healthcare workforce in history because they are trained and they are equipped. Healthcare is the foundation of human dignity under SDG number 3 and under our constitution. That is from Article 43 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, Clause 1A up to F, number 2 and 3. It highlights the economic and social rights. So when we look at health, we normally say that health is wealth, and a healthy nation or a health populace boosts production, and therefore that enhances our economic status. I want to comment on food security and agriculture, where the president gave a raft of revitalized value chains. Remember when he came in office, people were scampering around with sufurias on their heads. I come from a community that embraces food in all aspects, not just for eating, but also as an income-generating activity, since we grow a lot of agricultural products, like we have sugarcane, we have coffee, we have tea, we have maize, and maize is our staple food in Bungoma County. So I want to thank that. However, I want to encourage that the relevant department enhances integrated digital platform to register farmers, to have a Kenya Agricultural Management Information System that will have a complete data of all the farmers and categories of farmers vis-a-vis the crops that they plant. So agriculture is the backbone of our economy in Kenya, and therefore I want to laud the president for having a keener eye on it. I also want to comment about affordable housing and markets. I come from a community that embraces good housing and even entrepreneurship. They are very much into business, and we have to support the 230 affordable houses and 276 new markets that will provide dignity, safety, and income for women in Bungoma County, especially the widows, and other entrepreneurs. We have several market stalls in Chwele, in Chepkube, in Kandui, in Mount Elgon, in Kamkuywa, in Webuye, in Tongaren, and in Bumula. So we want to emphasize housing and market infrastructure as tools for real social protection. Then we have MSMEs, Hustler Fund, and Youth Opportunities, where we saw the president the other week launching the Nyota program or initiative in Mumias. So 80 billion has been dispersed through the Hustler Fund, with millions removed from CRB lists. Most of them had been blacklisted, but the president has made an effort to ensure that they are removed from the CRB lists in order to enable them to access credit facilities and boost their businesses. In line to this, I want to encourage the creation of a widows economic empowerment window within the Hustler Fund. Sorry, am I out of time? Not yet. Thank you. And I also want to comment about education. Having been a teacher, I really embrace the value of education in all aspects. We laud the president for whatever efforts he's put in place to boost education, despite the whispers that the funding model has hitches. And I'm so sure our president is keen on it, and he'll have to remind the relevant department, or rather ministry, to look at where the hiccups are and to improve on it. That relieves the pressure on single mothers, widows, and all those vulnerable groups that have got school-going children or that have the tertiary, college, or university students. I want also to support the massive teacher recruitment and student-centered funding model, and encourage that the teachers' welfare is improved right from ECDE to up the other levels of education. Otherwise, it is a good move. About water, dams, irrigation, and all that, I think this one is a backbone for rural women, and it boosts their agricultural production, and it also even enhances our environment as we are looking at the environmental tree cover, environmental protection, and conservation. Lastly, let me not forget about digital transformation. We are in a techno-savvy space, and I want to applaud the expansion of fiber networks, digital hubs, and e-citizen services, which have gone to an extent of benefiting even the rural businesswoman by lowering the compliance costs. However, there's need to have capacity building for them, since most of them are not AI compliant. So there's need to have capacity building and awareness programs to enable them advance to this level. Relevancy to Bungoma County. Bungoma farmers have benefited from subsidized fertilizer, improved maize harvest, and dairy sector reforms. The expanded TVET training and digital hubs directly support the county's youth, including orphans and children raised by widows. Bungoma's MSP and cross-border traders, especially widows and women in markets like Chwele, Webuye, Sirisia, Kimilili, Tongaren, Kandui, Kamkuywa, Kapsokon, stand to gain significantly from modern markets and hustler funds. So as I wrap up my presentation, I want to say that as we implement these milestones, we give special priority to mapping, registering, and supporting women, especially widows, youths, people with disabilities, the elderly, so that they fully benefit from these historic reforms. I support. Thank you.
Next is Senator Kisang William.
Good. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to make comments on the President's State of the Nation address that we had last week, Honorable Speaker, in the National Assembly for both houses. Honorable Speaker, it is good to note that for the last 3 years, when Kenya Kwanza government came in and the President took over as the 5th President of the Republic of Kenya, the state of the economy, Honorable Speaker, was very bad. It was in deplorable state. In fact, if you remember very well, during campaign, we had shortages of fuel. In fact, it was by the grace of God that we were able to get petrol or diesel to do campaigns during that particular time, Honorable Speaker, because there was shortage of fuel across the country. Not because we were unable to import fuel, Honorable Speaker, it is because the country was shortage of dollars. There were no dollars in the country. Central bank had run out of dollars. The exchange rate, the dollar to the shilling, was skyrocketing up to the level of $1 to 165 shillings, Honorable Speaker. So it was impossible for the petroleum sector to import because, one, there were no dollars. Number two, it was very difficult. I think there was shortage of fuel also in the international market, Honorable Speaker. But currently, as when we report 3 years later on, Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Kwanza government, as the President reported last week, Honorable Speaker, they were able to enter into G2G, government to G with Saudi, to stabilize the market, where Kenya is given a period of 108 days to pay for supply of fuel, and that will stabilize the market. And for 3 years now, Honorable Speaker, we have not had any shortage of fuel in the country, and the shilling has stabilized from, Honorable Speaker, the rate of 165 to now a rate of 129 to the dollar, and it has stabilized there for the last over 8 years, and we believe it will be coming down maybe to around 120, 125. Honorable Speaker, this is a sign of a stable economy, Honorable Speaker. When Kenya Kwanza government took over 2022 September 3 years ago, Honorable Speaker, the inflation rate was 9%. Currently, we are at 4.6, Honorable Speaker. This is a sign of an economy that is growing, an economy that has stabilized, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, 3 years ago, as it's reported by also Central Bank and the Treasury, and the President gave us the report, Honorable Speaker, our GDP at that time stood at $115 billion, Honorable Speaker. As of today, Honorable Speaker, we are at $136 billion dollars, Honorable Speaker. I don't know why people are complaining that the economy is not doing well, that we are not getting a proper report, Honorable Speaker, but the naysayers, they have to say something. But you have seen, Honorable Speaker, for the last over 1 year, Honorable Speaker, you've not seen people in the streets putting the sburias in their heads, as it's been reported. 2022 was very difficult. Early 2023, people were talking about food. The cost of food was very high. Now the cost of food, a kilo of unga, Honorable Speaker, has come down as low as 100. And by the time Kenya Kwanza took over, Honorable Speaker, it was over 300 shillings by a packet of unga, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know, basically my best subject also is ICT. When the Kenya Kwanza government took over, the number of kilometers of fiber optic in the country was less than 70,000. Now we have surpassed over 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic across the country. You go to the main highways, the one towards your county, Isholo, all the way to Moyale. There is already fiber that has been laid all the way to Moyale. And basically what the Minister of ICT needs to do is to do just the last mile of fiber connectivity to all our sub-county facilities, both sub-county headquarters, sub-county district hospitals, sub-county, even after health centers, Honorable Speaker, because we need all the facilities to be fiber ready, so that they can use internet, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, one of the issues that also this particular government and the state of the nation addresses, Honorable Speaker, is what is being rolled out. All the 1,450 wards across the country are having what we call digital apps. These digital apps, Honorable Speaker, will assist our youth to get digital skills. Number two, Honorable Speaker, is to get online jobs And these online jobs, you don't even have to sleep. In fact, most of the countries, say the US, Honorable Speaker, when it is daytime here, it's night there. When it is night here, it's daytime there. So our youth, what they need to do is just to approach, go to near the digital hubs in the wards and look for online jobs and do online jobs at night. And Honorable Speaker, they do research. There are many youths that are now getting being paid in dollars because of these digital jobs that they are getting under Jitume or Ajira program, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what we are only asking our counterpart in National Assembly, because they have the national government CDF funds, is to ensure all these digital apps are completed, because Ministry of ICT is equipping them with free internet. And Ministry of Energy, where I'm the Vice Chair of Energy Committee in Senate, Honorable Speaker, is providing them with power so that we move as a country to a 24-hour economy, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also want to touch on education. Honorable Speaker, for a long time, our teachers, especially the primary teachers, there are those who completed their education 2014, 2013, 2012, 2015, and most of them have been at home unemployed. In fact, some of them recently, Honorable Speaker, even if you go to your county, there are those who are complaining. They are about to retire before they are hired. They are turning 45, 44, 46 before they are employed, Honorable Speaker. We want to thank the President because in 3 years, he has employed a record of 76,000 teachers. And this financial year, Honorable Speaker, they're also employing another 24. And there was an advert yesterday in the papers where they're recruiting P1 teachers over 9,000. And I believe this 9,000, Honorable Speaker, we want to ask TSC to give priority to those teachers who are above 40. Even if they graduated recently, they need to be given priority so that, Honorable Speaker, they don't retire before being employed, Honorable Speaker, as an affirmative action so that we get rid of those who are of age, and then those who graduated earlier, but they are below 30, they still have an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, when opportunity for replacement comes on, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have an issue also with, I know there are challenges and people have made noise about the new model of funding in the universities. What the Minister of Education needs to do, and the universities and the students, they need to form a team and harmonize and iron any differences, because we are told this is a very good model. There are those who are praising it, there are those who are critiquing. So it means basically it must be maybe some misunderstanding that they need to iron out, Honorable Speaker. And the CS in charge of Ministry of Education, especially the higher education, Honorable Speaker, we have had so many strikes. I remember during our days, there was no strike. In fact, the only strike that we used to do those days is when we missed the dialogue. You know, people didn't know what the dialogue is that time. You know, Chapati was called dialogue those days. But these days, the number of strikes that are there because of non-payment of salaries or not honoring the CBS that the university dons have discussed with the ministry, they need to come out of this thing. It is embarrassing, it is exposing the country, and people are looking for education elsewhere, either in private universities or out of the country, and we are losing resources, and Kenya is known for quality education. They need to sort out this problem of strikes in the universities, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what also excited me was infrastructure, especially roads, Honorable Speaker. I want to report to you, Honorable Speaker, last year I was going home for Christmas, and I went on to 22nd. I left at 5:30 in the morning. I left my house 5:30 in the morning. I took 4 hours from Karen to Gichabe Tanof. 4 hours, and it was very difficult. In fact, I made a mistake. I said, let me turn back so that I can leave the following day at around maybe 2 a.m. I took another 4.5 hours from Gichabe Tanof to Karen, Honorable Speaker. So I was excited when the President said this coming Friday, they are going to commission and launch the dualing of Rironi, Mount Summit Road, Rironi, Maimai, Naivasha Road, Honorable Speaker. This will save the country a lot of resources. We are wasting a lot of money. We are wasting a lot of time getting into that gridlock. Even this particular weekend, Honorable Speaker, on Friday, when we overflew there are people who got stuck there for over 4 hours. So this was long overdue, and we want to thank the President for coming into our aid to ensure that road, basically, Honorable Speaker, and other roads dual, Honorable Speaker. And then the one, Karen, Kaleria, all the way to Ngong, all the way to Rongai. If you ask those who live in Rongai, Honorable Speaker, they leave their houses 5 in the morning to come and work in Nairobi, instead of spending like 15 minutes from Rongai to Nairobi. So this will really help. Honorable Speaker, on agriculture, there is testing the pesticides, Honorable Speaker. There are those that have been banned, and they're still getting imported to the country. I don't know what KEBS and AFA are doing. They need to save. Maybe this is the reason why there is a lot of cancer in the country. We need to stop these imports, Honorable Speaker, so that we can save our people from dying that are necessary, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also wanted to speak on health. I'm happy, Honorable Speaker, that it's being reported across everywhere that SHA is working. SHA is really working. But I think there is an issue that they need to tweak. People are registering in SHA. They have reported 27 million, those who have reported. But we need to find a way where when they register, they also need to pay. They need to look at this mean testing issue that they have, because you can imagine an old mama in the village who don't have an income, they are being told to pay 550. And we promised that it will come down to 300. So they need to relook at this particular mean testing and see how they can tweak it so that we can have a flat rate for those who don't have any income, say 300 or whatever. Or the Ministry of Health, as it's been promised, that they pay for them, Honorable Speaker, because there are those who go to the hospital and they don't get services because they have not paid. And some are forced to pay for 12 months. And 12 months, if you cannot afford 300, how can you afford to pay 3,600 before you get services? This is where the ministry needs to sit down and see how can they can streamline so that our people really get universal health coverage as we have been promised, Honorable Speaker. Final, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the President also because of the markets that are being built using affordable houses funds. I want to thank him because of our stadiums. We have a stadium in Elgeyo-Marakwet County that we have talked for a long time, Kamarin Stadium. And I want to urge the Ministry of Sports to fast track, because that stadium, our athletes in Iten, and Iten is the international hub of training. And Kamarin Stadium has overstayed. We should be completing this stadium within the shortest time possible to assist our athletes. Athletes are the ones who are marketing the country. They are ambassadors. They are making us proud. And this particular stadium and both Kipchoge have taken long. At least I'm happy Kipchoge is progressing very well. But Kamarin, the contractor, reported recently, and I'm told he is not on site now. I don't know what is ailing this particular project. I want to urge the ministry to move with speed so that our athletes can move back from Gibson Secondary School, where they are currently training, and go to Kamarin, where we'll have proper facilities, we have proper sanitation and proper facilities to even test if there are any of athletes who will maybe undertake some topping, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, finally, Honorable Speaker, I want to talk about the issue of debt. You know, there is no way. We need to allow the executive to look for resources to develop the country. Even ourselves here, you can't grow if you don't borrow. You can't grow if you don't get a loan. So loans must be taken and loans must be paid. So we allow the country to borrow and give us services and we pay taxes.
Next is Senator Mwinyi Haji Mohamed Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia hotuba ya rais ambayo alitoa katika bunge wiki iliyokwisha. Kabla Seneta Kisanga hajatoka, Mheshimiwa Spika, nilikuwa tunataka kumjulisha kwamba amezungumzia digital hubs katika kila ward, lakini kule Mombasa niko na ward 30 na 90% ya ward hizo, Mheshimiwa Spika, hazina hizo digital hubs. Kwa hivyo anapozungumzia ward 1550 katika Kenya ambazo zina digital hubs, zile za Mombasa ambazo ni 30, 27 hazina hubs hizo ambazo amezungumzia. Mheshimiwa Spika, hotuba ya rais ilitoa matumaini na vile vile pia ikaleta biwi la giza, kwa sababu kuna mambo mengi ambayo aliyazungumzia lakini yana changamoto nyingi. Mheshimiwa Spika, hotuba ile ilitoa taswira kwamba mambo ni shwari katika nchi ya Kenya, kwamba tuko katika barabara ya kwenda Singapore. Tutakutana na Singapore hapo mbele kwa siku za usoni. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia kwa ndani maisha ya Mkenya hivi sasa, zile changamoto ambazo Wakenya wanapitia, Mheshimiwa Spika, utaona kwamba safari ya Singapore bado iko mbali sana. Mheshimiwa Spika, kweli barabara na miundombinu ndio tunaweza kusema jambo ambalo litaleta maendeleo katika nchi yetu, lakini vile vile elimu, afya kwa wananchi wetu na vile vile pia hali ya uchumi ni vitu muhimu sana ambavyo lazima tuweze kuvizingatia ili tuweze kufikia upeo wa maendeleo. Mheshimiwa Spika, maelezo kwamba atajenga barabara ni mambo ya kutia moyo, kwa sababu mara nyingi usafiri unakuwa shida kwa wakulima kuleta bidhaa zao katika masoko. Vile vile usafiri wa biashara, Mheshimiwa Spika, pia imekuwa ni shida kwa sehemu fulani. Kwa mfano Mheshimiwa Spika, safari ya gari ya basi hivi sasa kutoka Nairobi kuja Mombasa, kwenda Mombasa, inachukua takriban masaa 10, ambapo SGR wanakupeleka kwa masaa 4, ndege ni dakika 45. Iwapo ile barabara ingejengwa barabara mbili ya kwenda na ya kurudi, ingekuwa ni rahisi, Mheshimiwa Spika, watu kusafiri kwenda Mombasa kwa biashara kwa muda usiopungua masaa 4. Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeona kweli nyumba zinajengwa za kisasa, lakini nyumba hizi nyingi, Mheshimiwa Spika, hazijakuwa katika uwezo wa wananchi wa Kenya. Wengi wao bado ukiangalia payslip zao haziwaruhusu kuchukua nyumba hizi, kwa sababu nyumba yenyewe bado ziko juu. Vile vile Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia uchumi, leo asubuhi nilikuwa ninasoma gazeti na nikaona mkurugenzi mkuu wa Banki Kuu ya Kenya, Dr. nimesahau jina lake, lakini anasema kwamba deni hivi sasa limefikia trilioni 11.8, yani 11.8 trillion ndio deni linalodaiwa Kenya kwa sasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, deni hili liko sehemu ambalo ni la nyumbani, yani domestic debt, na ile foreign debt, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kwa sababu ya uchumi wetu haufanyi vizuri na kuna shida ya fedha katika uchumi, inakuwa ni shida, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa serikali kuweza kulipa madeni yake, na hiyo itapelekea kwamba iwapo hatutakuwa waangalifu, siku za usoni tutashindwa kulipa madeni haya, na nchi yetu itaweza kuwekwa katika orodha ya zile nchi ambazo zimeshindwa kulipa madeni, na hivyo basi hali ya uchumi itakuwa inazidi kudidimia. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia hivi sasa tunachukua pesa za wafanyakazi kupitia kwa housing levy, zinakusanywa, alafu pesa zile tunanunua treasury bills kwa Central Bank. Tunachukua pesa tunazikopesha Central Bank, na Central Bank inatukopesha sisi, inatukopesha tena nchi ili iweze kufanya miradi. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunazidi kujibandikiza madeni na riba, ambayo riba ile Mheshimiwa Spika mara nyingine inakuwa zaidi ya zile deni ambalo limechukuliwa, kwa sababu hatuwezi kulipa zile pesa ambazo tunalipwa kama riba kutoka kwa Central Bank, hazilingani na zile pesa ambazo Central Bank inatuchaji sisi wakati wanatupa mikopo ya kinyumbani. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, swala hilo la uchumi ni lazima liangaliwe kwa undani zaidi, kwa sababu rais hawezi kutupa sura kwamba mambo ni shwari wakati mkurugenzi mkuu wa Central Bank anasema kwamba tuko katika hali mbaya ya madeni. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la pili, tunajenga viwanda. Utaona kwamba kuna kaunti takriban 25 zilipewa pesa katika muhula wa mwaka jana, mwaka 2024-25 kujenga zile vituo vya viwanda, industrial parks katika maeneo yao. Mheshimiwa Spika, tulitarajia kwamba kwa mwaka huu wa fedha mwaka 2025-26 wataweza kuongeza kaunti nyingine ili tuweze kumaliza kaunti zote 47, lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo hilo halikuweza kufanyika kwa sababu pesa hazikuweza kutimia. Hivyo basi waliweza kutoa tu pesa kwa zile kaunti ambazo zilipata mwaka jana fedha hizo ili waweze kumaliza vile vituo. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaona kwamba hata kama ni kimaendeleo, kaunti haziendi sawa sawa. Kuna nyingine zinapata nafasi zaidi kuliko nyingine. Kwa hivyo kujenga nchi ya Kenya ili iwe sawa sawa na nchi ya Singapore, Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa ni ndoto. Vile vile Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia kaunti zetu nyingi, nikizungumzia kaunti za Pwani, hazina maji Mheshimiwa Spika. Tutajenga viwanda vipi ikiwa hakuna maji, hata maji ya kunywa? Tutajenga viwanda, tutajenga majumba vipi, affordable housing? Wale watu ambao wataishi katika zile nyumba watapata maji wapi Mheshimiwa Spika? Ukija Mombasa Mheshimiwa Spika, hivi sasa utaona magari ya kuuza maji, water boozers, imekuwa ni biashara nzuri. Kila mtu ananunua water boozer aweze kuuza maji. Tutajenga nyumba, kwa mfano ukienda katika katikati ya mji wa Mombasa hivi sasa Mheshimiwa Spika, utapata watu wana mikokoteni wanazungusha maji, wanafanya biashara ya maji ya mikokoteni. Maji haya Mheshimiwa Spika, hatujui yametoka wapi, labda si safi kwa mwananchi kunywa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi kuendelea ikiwa mambo madogo madogo haya ambayo ni ya kimsingi, very basic, ukosefu wa maji Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi kuendelea ikiwa tutakuwa hatuna maji. Mheshimiwa Spika, afya, amezungumzia afya na akasema kwamba takriban Wakenya milioni 27 wamejiandikisha kwa SHA. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia huduma za SHA, kila sehemu kuna malalamiko. Kuna malalamiko. Wale ambao wanatibiwa kansa Mheshimiwa Spika, akitibiwa raundi moja ya kansa, therapy ikifanyika kwa nafasi ya kwanza, akirudi nafasi ya pili anaambiwa hakuna tena, wewe subiri mpaka mwaka ujao, ama ulipe malipo ya mwaka utakaofuata. Haya Mheshimiwa Spika, haimaanishi kwamba, haionyeshi kwamba hii SHA inafanya kazi. Ni ndoto Mheshimiwa Spika, na hata katika sheria imeelezwa kwamba SHA malengo ni kutoa huduma ya afya kwa kila mwana Kenya. Ndio maana sisi kama wabunge Mheshimiwa Spika, tunalipishwa karibu 30,000, na yule Mkenya ambaye yuko katika biashara ya jua kali ama hana kazi analipa shilingi 500 kwa mwezi. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, haiwezekani kwamba SHA wananchi wanakatiwa, waliojiunga ni milioni 27, lakini wale ambao wanapata huduma hizi ni wachache sana, na kwa sababu ya utepetevu na vile vile pia ukosefu wa mwongozo kuhusiana na swala hili la huduma. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukienda katika mahospitali mengi hivi sasa, wananchi wamebakia katika mahospitali kwa sababu SHA inakulipia asilimia fulani ya ile deni lako. Zamani NHIF, Mheshimiwa Spika, ilikuwa inakulipia katika huduma hospitali za serikali, walikuwa wanakulipia deni lote la hospitali. Lakini sasa SHA inakulipia asilimia fulani. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukikuzia mambo ya usalama, bado tunaona watu wanapotea katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kifo cha mwalimu mwanabloga Ojwang katika mikono ya polisi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni jambo ambalo bado halijatatuliwa. Ufisadi, Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeona kwamba ufisadi pia bado unaendelea katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Na wakati serikali hii ya Kenya Kwanza ilipochaguliwa, waliapa kupambana na ufisadi. Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo lingine lina ajira. Serikali imetambua kwamba haiwezi kuajiri kila mtu. Ndio maana sasa kuna mpango wa ajira majuu ama ajira katika nchi za nje. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, huwezi kutarajia kuku wako azae mayai wakati humwangalii vizuri. Tukiangalia wale wanaokwenda kufanya kazi nchi za nje, Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo la kwanza, hawana uzoefu yale mazingira ambayo watayapata katika maeneo yale. Utapata wengi wakifika kule wanapata mazingira magumu na wengi wanakimbia zile kazi. Kwa mfano wale wanaokwenda, Mheshimiwa Spika, katika nchi ya Saudi Arabia na kwingineko katika Gulf, utapata kwamba wengi hawajui lugha ya Kiarabu. Inakuwa mawasiliano wao na waajiri wao inakuwa ni shida. Baada ya muda, Mheshimiwa Spika, wale wanatoroka makazi yale, na balozi zetu katika maeneo yale, Mheshimiwa Spika, hazijakuwa na uwezo wa kuweza kusaidia wa Kenya hawa. Utapata kwamba labda katika nchi nzima, Mheshimiwa Spika, afisa wa leba katika balozi zile ni mtu mmoja peke yake. Kwa hivyo inakuwa shida kwa ndugu zetu hawa wanaofanya kazi kule sehemu za nje kuweza kupata msaada wakati wako na matatizo katika zile kazi zao. Wengi, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanakimbia zile kazi baada ya kufanya kwa muda mchache, na hivyo basi inaleta matatizo kwa jamii zao, huku wengine wanapoteza maisha kule, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na iwapo mtu hana kiongozi ambaye anaweza kumsimamia, mara nyingi inakuwa shida hata kupata ule mwili kuurejesha katika nchi ya Kenya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Hivi sasa, Mheshimiwa Spika, ninavyozungumza ni kwamba kuna kijana ambaye alisafiri kwenda Kuwait, na wakati warudi akifika Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, aliweza kuzuiliwa na mpaka sasa yuko jela pale Addis Ababa. Na japokuwa balozi imejaribu kuweza kusaidia, lakini bado hajaweza kusaidika Mkenya yule. Mheshimiwa Spika, mwingine alizuiliwa kule Oman, katika nchi ya Oman, Muscat, ambao pia alikwenda kufanya kazi, akakosana na tajiri akazuia pasipoti yake, na hivyo sasa hakuweza kusafiri, na polisi wamemshika, na hivi sasa bado pia yuko ndani ya jela kuweza kusubiri hatima yake kurejeshwa nchini ya Kenya. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, japokuwa ni jambo zuri kuwatafutia ajira vijana wetu kule katika sehemu za nje, lakini ajira hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, lazima ziwe ni ajira ambazo ni za kuaminika, na vile vile balozi zetu zilizoko katika nchi ya nje, Mheshimiwa Spika, lazima ziwe na msaada kwa watu hawa, ili mtu akitoka hapa Kenya akienda kufanya kazi nje, balozi inajua mtu huyo anakwenda kufanya kazi wapi, mwajiri wake ni nani, na labda iwapo atakuwa na dharura ama atakuwa na shida, ataweza kusaidika vipi kupitia kwa balozi yetu katika nchi zile za nje. Mheshimiwa Spika, nchi nyingine ajira katika sehemu za nje ni kitega uchumi kikubwa. Ukiangalia kwa mfano nchi ya Philippines, wana wizara maalum ya kusimamia mambo haya ya ajira, na wanapata pesa nyingi katika pesa za kigeni, na hizo inasaidia pia kujaribu kusawazisha masuala ya uchumi katika nchi hili. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, japokuwa hotuba hii ya rais imeweza kutoa taswira nzuri ya nchi, lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia kwa undani kabisa, kuna matatizo mengi ambayo yako katika nchi yetu. Kwa mfano Mheshimiwa Spika, hivi sasa na majuzi bunge la kitaifa lilikuwa linapitisha mswada kwamba bei ya umeme iongezwe katika nchi yetu. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa tunaongeza bei ya umeme na tayari bei yetu iko juu kuliko nchi jirani, kwa mfano nchi ya Ethiopia, hata nchi ya Tanzania, Uganda, Mheshimiwa Spika, Misri ambapo hao ndio tunaopambana nao katika COMESA.
Senator, give him 1 minute to conclude. Senator Faki, take 1 minute.
Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hizo ndizo nchi ambazo kiviwanda tunatakana tushindane nazo ili tuweko na nafasi nzuri katika COMESA katika eneo letu la Afrika Mashariki na ya Kati. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ikiwa uchumi bei yetu ya uchumi, yani bei yetu ya umeme, electricity, itakuwa iko juu hapa nchini Kenya, Mheshimiwa Spika, ina maana kwamba bidhaa zetu ambazo tutatengeneza kupitia kwa viwanda vyetu zitakuwa ziko bei ya juu, na hivyo basi hazitakuwa attractive ama hazitakuwa nzuri katika soko, na hivyo basi tutashindwa na zile nchi nyingine kiuchumi, kwa sababu bidhaa zao zitakuwa zina nafasi nzuri ya kununuliwa kwa sababu bei yake ni chini kutokana na gharama ndogo ya uchumi. Mheshimiwa Spika, asante kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Senator Mudhama Agnes Kavindo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to put my points also about the State of the Nation address by the President. Mr. Speaker, I just want to touch on a few things that are completely not working in this country. And I will start with SHA. Mr. Speaker, every day I receive so many calls from my people of Machakos complaining about SHA. First of all, when we had the NHIF, people could pay quarterly or 6 months and then they complete the year. These days they are told to pay whole complete year, 7,000. And after paying for that, they go see a doctor and the doctor prescribes medication for them to go and buy after they have already spent all the money that they had. That's a big challenge, Mr. Speaker. When we had NHIF, cancer patients were being treated free of charge. Mr. Speaker, when we had also the Linda Mama, our mothers used to go to the hospital, deliver their babies, and they even given diapers to go back home with, free of charge, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is a shame because most of the mothers these days, once they deliver and they have not paid this other system, they are retained in hospitals together with those babies. Imagine an infant being retained in a hospital for lack of payments. This child is very innocent, and this is something that the President should talk to the concerned people. And because health is devolved, Mr. Speaker, I think more money should be devolved so that our health systems can work properly, because there is a lot of challenges in health. Another one is education. No capitation in schools. I've done a statement here complaining about schools which have been closed down because the government owes the schools a lot of money and the capitation money has not been released. It is still the same. And so that is an issue that should be checked on so that we can say that education is working. When you go to ECD classes, the governors are having challenges of even employing teachers. Why? Because they are claiming that they don't have enough money. There are not even enough classes. When you go there on your oversight mission, they tell you that there is no money. Go and defend us. Release more money to the counties. And that is the complaint, Mr. Speaker. And I don't know if the people who are in these ministries are telling the President exactly what is happening in their ministries, that they may devolve more monies, because every function follows, money. Once a function is devolved, it must follow, money must follow the function. The other thing is about security. Security is a big issue in our country. I know safety begins with us, security begins with us, but when we talk of Gen Zs who are being killed left, right, and center, abductions, something must be done. And the president, sometimes back, promised that they were going to compensate the Gen Zs who were killed. To date, they've not been compensated, because I have one Rex Masai, who the mother still calls me about compensation, and many others. These are issues that the president should address and put them back so that Kenyans can move forward. Another thing is affordable housing. This affordable housing, everyone working with a payslip is deducted money for building these affordable houses. And the same houses are built on the land which belongs to the government of Kenya. And the people who are building their houses still sell the houses. The houses are built with our own money. The same houses are sold to us. And they are actually not, the right people who should be receiving those houses don't even get them. These houses are owned by very rich people, not the poor. The poor who get them are very few, but majority of them are owned by very rich people. And this is something that the president should look into. And I don't think the people who are concerned are telling him the truth about this. The president must know the truth about the affordable houses. The other thing is that I've seen demolitions going on in this country in the name of building affordable houses. Like right now here in Nairobi, there are demolitions that are going on, and those people are sleeping out and it is raining. Before the demolition, so that the affordable houses can be built, these people should be moved into a safe place so that they can be in a safe place. Then the demolition goes on. And after the affordable houses are built, I expect the same people to be the first ones who should own those houses. But it is not like that. These houses are being owned by very rich people, and the president should look into this. The other thing is corruption that is going on in this country, and especially where land is concerned. Mr. President should look into this, and I don't think the minister, the CS for lands, is telling the president the truth. I've had issues in Machakos of land. Mabonyenye too, they come and buy those lands from the poor. The poor are being kicked out in the name of their squatters. But even squatters in this country has a right to own a land and to live in a safe and safe place. Mr. Speaker, the other thing I want to address is about employment. I thank God there are many people who are being taken out of this country for employment. But majority of them are suffering wherever they go. Wherever they go, like especially those who are in Arab countries, they really suffer. Our girls there are suffering. They even have children. Some of them are raped by the employers. As a result, they give birth to children. Those children are in the streets outside the country. I challenge the president and the CS for Foreign Affairs to bring those children back home, because they belong here, because they are born by birth, they are Kenyans, and they should not be left outside there to suffer, to continue suffering. We want to hear the good side of Kenya and the bad side of Kenya. And because my work is oversight, I'll only deal with the bad side of it. Mr. Speaker, I also want to talk about the 1998 bomb blast, which was not addressed in this. These people have been suffering for the last 27 good years, waiting for compensation. And what is remaining for them to be compensated is just an amendment of a law in the Senate of the US and the Congress, so that these people can be compensated. And we are not demanding for American money. We are demanding for the money that is there to compensate these people. And I wonder why every president of this country is quiet about it. And I challenge the president of today that he may take over this issue, because I'm sure it has been given to him. We have done it, and I'm even going to meet with the liaison committee again so that they can give me more days to continue pushing on this. I will not stop as long as I'm in this Senate until these people are compensated. And I challenge the president and the CS for Foreign Affairs to take over and take up this issue, because our people died. They must be compensated. Kenyans, Al-Qaeda was not fighting with Kenya. They were fighting with America, and we took the bullets of America. And so I'll continue pushing, and I call upon the president, the CS for Foreign Affairs, and everybody who is concerned. These people are dying. They are dying in poverty. Even Kenyan Ministry of Health does not even supply them with medication. Some of them are totally blind. Some of them are lame, that they cannot even work again. And the government of Kenya is doing nothing about it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me reach there. I can go on and on and on. But let me reach there with my complaints. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Kavindu. Now, honorable senators, from my dashboard, there is no other member interested in contributing to the debate. And in the absence of the majority leader, who is supposed to reply to this motion, I will defer reply to the next sitting of this House. Clerk, could you please call the next order?
Order number 9, motion, report of the proceedings of the Parliamentarians Dialogue at the Africa Climate Summit 2023, held in the National Assembly Chamber, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi, on 3rd to 6th September 2023.
This is a motion by Senator Moses Kajwang, who is also absent in the chamber. That motion is deferred. Next order.
Order number 10, motion, report of the proceedings of the high-level political forum of the Interparliamentary Union, held in New York, United States of America, on 22nd July 2025.
This motion is by Senator Fatuma Dulo, MP. She's not in the chamber. That motion is deferred. Let's call the next order, clerk.
Order number 11, motion, provision of IFMIS reports for county governments to the Senate.
Senator Andrew Omtata Koiti, who is supposed to be the mover of this motion, is absent. That motion is deferred. Next order.
Order number 12, motion, mainstreaming gender perspectives in legislative and policy processes.
Senator Veronica Maina is not in the chamber. The motion is hereby deferred. Next order.
Order number 13, motion, mainstreaming a framework for clean cooking in Kenya.
Similarly, Senator Hamida Kibwana, who is supposed to move this motion, is not in the chamber, and therefore it's deferred to the next sitting. With that, honorable members may rise. Now, honorable senators, there being no other business on the order paper, the Senate stands adjourned until later today, Wednesday, 26 November 2025 at 2:30 p.m.
conversation about changing systems, rebuilding dignity, and of course, proving that there definitely is life beyond the bars.
Shock on me. This officer says to me, I'm actually here to arrest you. From that point on, the wrongful prosecution begins. I am a convicted felon in this country. The friends I had, all the contacts, everyone has disappeared. So reality checks in. And it's a very harsh reality. Poverty does not equate criminality. So let us change that in this country and see to it that the opposite of justice is not inequality.
Kwa kweli usi uchawi, ni talanta zinakuzwa.
Taja umuhimu wa formula katika fasihi simulizi.
Inasaidia kuitoa athira kutoka ulimwengu halisi hadi ulimwengu wa hadithi.
Jadili changamoto zozote zile zinazowakumba waajiriwa kwa kurejelea hadithi ya harubu ya maisha.
Changamoto ya kwanza ni kucheleweshwa kulipwa mshahara.
Lakini mtu ambaye ana masomo utapata kwamba hategemei kazi moja peke yake.
Wingi wa sentensi. Mvuvi amemwona mwewe msikitini.
Wavuvi wamewaona mwewe msikitini.
Wavuvi wamewaona mwewe msikitini. Wapigwa makofi.
who have looked at the legal regime around them, and that's why they have developed confidence to be able to put their resources into these programs. Honorable Speaker, Kenya is one of the largest economies in Africa. We are actually number 6, after South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria. Honorable Speaker, I know we have our neighbors like Kenya, like Tanzania and Uganda. But let me point out, Honorable Speaker, that these are not our peers. Our peers are elsewhere. So when you are looking at making comparisons about the performance of Kenya's economy and our sisters in the region, you cannot do that. Because for example,
Team, have 1 minute, please.
Thank you,
1 minute, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. For example, the size of Kenya's economy. Our GDP is 4 times that of Tanzania and 5 times that of Uganda. So when you are, looking at the growth of our economy vis-a-vis these ones in the region, please make comparisons to South Africa, to Nigeria, to Egypt. Then you will see that if you make comparisons, the growth of those economies vis-a-vis our economy, we are actually doing better than our peers. So I saw some member, Honorable Speaker, claiming that, our peers are doing better than us. These are not our peers. Our peers are the countries I've mentioned to you. We are number 6 in Africa. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, Kenya is on the right track. Kenya is making very good, positive progress. And I want to thank the President for being bold. Some of these programs which the President is implementing, Honorable Speaker, you really have to be bold to do them. If you are a coward, you'll never do it.
Thank you. Your minute is over. The Honorable Timothy Toroitich, member for Marakwet West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving an opportunity to contribute on the President's State of the Nation address. Honorable Speaker, the President made the address pursuant to Article 132 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, the address was made in Parliament because this is the House that has the elected representatives of the people. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, he was talking to Kenyans through the members of Parliament who are seated in this chamber. Honorable Speaker, the speech of the President in my assessment was reassuring. I have read paragraph to paragraph from paragraph 1 to paragraph 163. Honorable Speaker, Napoleon Bonaparte once said that a leader is a dealer in hope. William Ruto, our President, is a dealer in hope. He has reassure this country that he will work so hard to take this country from a third world country to a first world country. Honorable Speaker, I have no doubt, as a leader in this country, that the direction that he has taken, through the support of Parliament and the people of Kenya, this country will rise. Honorable Speaker, this president has shown a lot of confidence under pressure. Remember, the economy of this country was almost collapsing when William Ruto took power. Honorable Speaker, as we speak, our economy has grown as evidenced by the speech that he gave. Honorable Speaker, he summed it up under paragraph 17, and he said, quote unquote, it can be done. I also believe as a leader that whatever the mind perceives, it shall be achieved. Honorable Speaker, if you look at education, for example, this government so far in the last 3 years has employed 76,000 teachers. We are projecting that in next year, we shall employ 100,000 teachers. Having that, the government has planned that next year, January, they shall employ extra 24,000 teachers, making it 100,000. Honorable Speaker, insofar as matters to do with education, I am happy that the President recognized the contribution of CDF, the Constituency Development Fund, insofar as infrastructure is concerned. Honorable Speaker, in the speech, he clearly captured that 23,000 classrooms have been built and 1,600 laboratories have been built under CDF. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, by the mere fact that the President recognized CDF means he has the good intentions, and we believe that the courts will give a favorable ruling insofar as the matter that is in court is concerned. Honorable Speaker, in matters of TVET, under the speech, the President noted that in 2022, we had 341,000 enrollment of TVET learners in our institutions. But this year, 2024, we have 718,000. That is a double, the number is double, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, insofar as our roads are concerned, for me personally, the Mau Summit Road that connects to Eldoret to Malava, Honorable Speaker, for me, that is a major milestone that, as a leader, I appreciate the President for the same. Honorable Speaker, in matters of housing, if you look at institutional housing, I was asking myself, at what point would we get money to build houses for our institutions? Honorable Speaker, this government has tried, and so far we have several houses that are being built in our institutions. Honorable Speaker, the share factor. Share, as we speak, 27 million Kenyans have registered under share and therefore are getting those medical benefits. Honorable Speaker, the only two issues that were left out. We have 20,000 teacher interns who need to be confirmed. I believe that those teachers will be confirmed. Finally, Honorable Speaker, as a House, the government has done a lot. Our role as oversight as a House must be enhanced. There are so many projects, housing, ESP markets, that have not taken off. Some have collapsed. Honorable Speaker, as a House, we must be able to oversight. And I've always said that the best way to assist the government.
I would like to, honorable members, allow me to purposively go to the Honorable Timothy Wanyonyi, member for Westlands. I request the other three ahead of him to be patient.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to contribute to this speech of the President. Madam Speaker, Honorable William Ruto, the President of Kenya, is a man on a mission. Madam Speaker, I say that because President William Ruto recognized that in Nairobi, because many times people may think Nairobi is self-sufficient and can do everything without support from the national government. But he took the initiative, Madam Speaker, to come and check the situation in Nairobi, especially in schools. And he took a tour of Nairobi with us, members of parliament from Nairobi. And after that, Madam Speaker, he committed to help expand the education sector in Nairobi. And through the NGCDF and then his own personal initiative, Madam Speaker, he committed and gave more than 2.2 billion shillings, Madam Speaker, for the construction of classrooms and improvement of infrastructure in schools. He even offered to pay school fees for over 200 students in a school, in one of the schools within Nairobi, Madam Speaker. And I can confirm that, Madam Speaker, the things that the President committed when we went on the tour, and he said within 3 months, within 3 or 4 months, they will be up, Madam Speaker, the infrastructure that he committed even with his own personal initiative, Madam Speaker, are almost done. And I know that many other things that the President has undertaken, Madam Speaker, especially in the infrastructure. He has promised to build a dual carriage from Lironi to all the way to Malaba, and I know it will be done, and many other things, and especially overhauling the health sector, Madam Speaker. It's a risk that many leaders, I think, will fear to undertake. But he did it. He has done it. And I'm very sure that Kenyans, those who have been attacking him, they should wait for the results. You know, when you're undertaking something new, you don't get the results immediately. And I know within time, these results will come out and people will see that he meant well for this country. He has done in the education sector, he has done in the at the health sector, he has done it in agriculture, and we can see now the farmers are reaping the initiative that the President made, Madam Speaker. And this is not just about talking. His talking is actually one of the leaders that is hands-on. He does things. And if you ask President Ruto anything, he will provide you with an answer. Not because he will ask somebody, but he will provide you with an answer because he knows what is going on in the government, Madam Speaker. We know very well that we have been around for 60 years, and if our earlier leaders took the kind of steps that the President has taken, Madam Speaker, I'm sure this country will be a developed country. And I believe him when he says he's going to move Kenya from a third world country to a first world country, because the initiatives he has put in place and his determination, Madam Speaker, he will change this country and put it where he has committed to take it. And I'm very sure, Madam Speaker, Kenyans will appreciate that. Let us give the President support. Let us remain with him. And also the people, especially sitting in the government, the cabinet secretaries and others, senior officials, they should highlight the achievement that the government has achieved so far. Because some of these things, that's why some people are accusing the President of lying or doing this, because they don't know what is going on. The information should be out there in the public domain so that people know what has been done by the government since the President took over power from President Uhuru. Madam Speaker, I know and I believe that this country is going to be a first world country, maybe not within the time of President Ruto.
Thank you. The Honorable Abdul Haro, member for Mandera South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, my contribution on the State of the Nation address by the President. The President promised to tell us a story, and indeed, he told us a compelling story of the progress this country has done in the last 3 years, a compelling story of where we stand now as the nation, and a compelling story giving us a snippet of what the future roadmap looks like. Perhaps the drafters of the Constitution were a bit economical when they were giving the President that speech, because they gave very scanty story from the hot, dusty, and fragile northern Kenya. Perhaps they should have given more stories from that part of the world, because the president has really done a lot in northern Kenya, like he has done for the rest of the country. For example, there is a road, the Great Northern Highway Road from Isiolo, that passes through Modogashe, Wajir, Elwak, and Mandera, which has formed a ringtone in TikTok and other social media platforms. That road is actually a 750-kilometer road, which is funded by World Bank and $750 million, which is currently the largest road infrastructure project funded by World Bank in the sub-Saharan Africa. I thought that road should have, the story on that road should have featured very well in the State of the Nation address. Honorable Speaker, the President reassured the country about the question around food security, how the food security has been enhanced, the question around farmer income, because this is an agricultural country, and also about how the Kenya exports from agriculture has been enhanced. The President actually mentioned about the progress we have done in the tea industry, the coffee industry, the edible oils industry. He mentioned about the cotton production, coconut production. And for the first time, or rather, apart from last State of the Nation address, in this address, the President featured the question of livestock, which is actually a backbone of for the people from northern Kenya, which actually forms 85% of this country. The President told us actually the livestock value chain, where leather exports have increased by 56%, now standing at 2.5 billion per year. Leather shoe production locally has risen to about 11 million pair of shoes produced every year. The President has talked about our beef production and value now standing at 12.9 billion. And of course, the dairy has doubled. The dairy production has doubled because of various interventions by government, and now stands at 9.4 billion. Honorable Speaker, the other thing the President mentioned in terms of agriculture and the future is the question of food production agenda through expanded modern agriculture through irrigation. And the President mentioned very clearly that we will not allow the clouds to determine whether our people eat or do not eat. And with that, I think he mentioned that the government is planning to do 5 mega dams for irrigation, particularly in Asals. And one of the dams I'm happy to mention is in my county, which is the Malkamari Dam. And then the other dams, like for example, the Basilinga Dam in Isiolo was also mentioned, and the Sigli Dam in Garissa, the other dam in Machakos was mentioned, that is Yatta Dam. The other dam in Narok was mentioned, and the other dam in Elgeyo Marakwet was also mentioned. I think if those dams are done, the food production question would be a big thing. Because I can see the light is on, Honorable Speaker, the other thing that I thought the President should have mentioned, which as the country is doing very well, but it's not mentioned, is the question of insecurity, particularly in northern Kenya and our borders. We have a lot of peace now. We have very little ethnic conflicts going on, and our borders are safer today. And I thought the President should have mentioned that to the country so that we all know the progress that have been made and the achievement that has been made in that area. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Rahim Dawood, member for North Imenti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first I wish to congratulate His Excellency the President, William Ruto. What he said last week was very, very up to speed. Madam Speaker, and I even appreciate Honorable Mbui, today he has admitted that the President is an excellent leader. I was even surprised it coming out from Honorable Mbui saying that, and hopefully he'll come to our side in the near future. Madam Speaker, as a country under President Ruto, our forex reserves are at an all-time high of $12 billion US. Madam Speaker, we are only supposed to have a maximum of 4 months cover, but we have exceeded the 4 months cover, and it has never been as high as it is now. Madam Speaker, Standard & Poor's is a rating agency which, when we borrow money, have classified Kenya, have moved Kenya from B- to B. Madam Speaker, that is because we have not defaulted on any funds we have borrowed. And that is a very plus point for our president, because his administration has managed in many, many years to raise the profile of Kenya as a good borrower. And when the infrastructure fund, the funding which was there before the Eurobonds, and we should note that it is not the government of William Ruto which borrowed all those funds, the Eurobond funds and all that. It was the previous administration. It is just a case that we are now paying over 1 trillion shillings in borrowing costs with interest and paying the principal. So we are laden with a lot of debts from the previous administration. And when one of our colleagues said we are borrowing, we have borrowed so much money, but how do you expect to pay what was borrowed earlier if we do not borrow and pay our debts? Madam Speaker, the presidents in this regime, we have got fertilizer, the subsidized fertilizer. Madam Speaker, the subsidized fertilizer has gone a long way to improve the agricultural capacity of this country. And with that, we have now raised the output in maize and other products as well. We've got the tea, like from my constituency, and coffee. The prices have gone more than, I think it's more than 50%. The prices have gone up in tea and the bonuses, together with coffee as well. So, Madam Speaker, our president has dared to dream. He did not have to do many of the things which others failed to do because they were scared of the consequences. Our president has dared to dream, and he's trying to make things work for this country so that we can move from where we are. I would not want to call us a third world country. I would want to call us a developing country, and we want to now go to the developed nations. We should be in those categories, because when we say third world, we are just being right at the bottom, and which we should not. I think we should be above that. Madam Speaker, the other thing which this regime has done has employed 76,000 teachers. That is more than the teachers which have been employed by previous regimes. And Madam Speaker, let the pessimists give us what would they want to do with all the things which the president has done, because it's no use just criticizing President Ruto and not giving alternatives. Let them give us alternatives of how we are going to revive the economy, because the economy, the way it is going, it is being revived, and we are going to be amongst the best in Africa. And I hope in a few years, by the time we finish with President Ruto in 2032, we will be amongst the developed nations of the world. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I support.
The Honorable Lisa Chelule, member for Nakuru County.
Asante sana our speaker kwa kunipatia nafasi pia nichangie taarifa ya president wetu ambaye alituletea taarifa yake wiki iliyopita, na ni taarifa ambaye ilifurahisha wananchi wote wa Kenya kulingana na kazi ambayo amefanya kwa wakati fupi sana. Nasema hivi, Mheshimiwa Speaker, yale mambo yote, taarifa yote ambaye alitupatia ni kazi ambaye amefanya kwa wakati fupi sana kulingana na vile wakati yake ambaye ameketi kwa ofisi. Ukijaribu kuangalia kwa umakini, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ile kazi yote amefanya ni kazi ambaye ilifanywa na wale president ambaye walituongoza wakati hiyo iliyopita. Ni kazi ambaye hawakufanya hata kwa miaka 20 wakiwa kwa ofisi. Kwa hivyo nachukua hii nafasi kwa niaba ya wananchi wa Nakuru kupongeza rais kufikisha taarifa yake katika bunge, na si taarifa peke yake ya kuongea, lakini ni yale mambo ambayo ametekeleza. Nataka kusema tunamshukuru sababu alichukua nafasi na akaonelea kwamba kuna watoto wetu wengi ambaye wamehitimu katika masomo ya ualimu, na alichukua nafasi ya kuhakikisha kwamba wengi ya hao walimu wamepatiwa nafasi kuandikwa kwa serikali, wawekwe kwa kazi, na si kwa kandarasi, ni kuandika wafanyikazi kwa njia ya permanent and pensionable, na tunafurahi sana kama watendakazi katika serikali yake. Ningependa tu kuchukua hii nafasi niambie wananchi wa Kenya kwamba president amefanya kazi, yeye mwenyewe hajaficha, amekuja na ametangaza. Pengine ile shida tuko naye ni wale wanatangaza, wale wanahitajika kupasha habari kwa wananchi pale nyumbani. Mimi nikiwa moja ya wakulima, tunafurahi sana wakati aliposukisha bei ya fertilizer kutoka 7,500 kwenda 2,500. Ilitusaidia sana kama wakulima, ilisaidia wakulima wetu wote, na kwa saa hii Mheshimiwa Spika, hakuna mtu ambaye anasema ako na shida ya njaa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Pengine ni yule tu hajapenda kupanda, hajapenda kwenda kwa shamba. Kwa hivyo napongeza rais sababu hiyo ilikuwa njia moja ya kumaliza mambo ya njaa katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Sababu watu wakiwa na njaa hata wana amani. Kwa hivyo siku hii tunapoongea kuhusu taarifa yake, ninajua kila mtu wako na amani sababu wako na chakula ya kutosha. Nataka kusema mambo ya amani katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kama kuna president ama kama kuna kiongozi ya nchi ambaye ameunganisha Kenya mzima kwa wakati yake ya uongozi, wakati alipokuwa naibu wa rais, aliunganisha nchi yetu ya Kenya. Wakati huu akiwa rais wetu, tunashukuru Mungu sababu alimpatia nafasi, ameunganisha nchi yote. Hajawahi fika wakati anasema sehemu hii atinisi kupata kura, sehemu ile nilipata, lakini ameunganisha Kenya. Kwa hivyo mimi nikiwa mpenda amani katika nchi yetu Kenya, nataka kuchukua hii nafasi niseme heko rais yetu. Wewe umetuunganisha, wewe umeleta amani, wewe umekuwa uso ya nchi yetu ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kuongea juu ya vile amekuwa na hacha sana kuhakikisha tumepanda miti ambaye tulikuwa tumepoteza uso yetu ya mambo ya miti, na amepanga kwamba katika wakati yake ya uongozi atahakikisha amepanda miti milioni 30 ama milioni 30. Na kwa wakati huo amesema atafanya hiyo kazi katika wakati fulani. Ako na mpango ya kuboresha nchi yetu ya Kenya. Akisema kweli anataka kuhakikisha kwamba badala ya kununua vitu kutoka nje, sisi tutakuwa tukiuza vitu zetu, bidhaa zetu, kama ni products ama kama ni mambo ya chakula, hatuwezi tena kutegemea yale chakula ambayo inatoka nje. Akisema hivyo kama kiongozi yetu, ningependa kuomba wananchi wa Kenya tusimame na yeye kwa maombi, tusimame na yeye kwa kazi. Wale watu ambaye wanategemea mambo ya ukulima waende kwa shamba. Nataka kusema wameboresha sekta sote katika agriculture. Ameboresha mambo ya maziwa, ameboresha wakulima wa chai na ya kahawa. Bei imeboreshwa. Hiyo ndio inafurahisha mkulima. Na ninapoongea juu ya mkulima, naongea wale watu ambaye wako wengi katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Ni wachache sana wale watu wako kwa ofisi. Wacha niongee tu juu ya wakulima sababu wakulima ni wengi sana katika idadi yetu ya nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo nataka
Asante. Mheshimiwa Catherine Omanyo, ulizungumzia swala hili jana, kwa hivyo utaweza kuzungumza tena. Nitaenda moja kwa moja kwa mbunge wa Lafey ambaye ni Mheshimiwa Mohamed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I rise to contribute to the State of the Nation address by His Excellency the President. Madam Speaker, I want to go on record by thanking the Kenyans who have elected His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, because the President address was one of the best address ever delivered to the Kenyans, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the President went ahead and unite Kenyans and give us a broad-based government, a government that is really delivering to Kenyans. Madam Speaker, His Excellency took a bold decision. If you see the issue of housing, today, if you go through all the constituencies in this country, Madam Speaker, you will find a housing project going on. This housing issue is not only giving a decent house to Kenyans, but it is also a job creation to Kenyans. If you don't find a housing, you will find a modern market or ESP market, electricity, roads, and all if you go, as I have said, Madam Speaker, if you don't find my constituency today a housing project, you will find an ESP market, you will find a road being constructed. So that is the kind of the promises he made His Excellency during his campaign, and he has really delivered to the Kenyans, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, many Kenyans are debating today by telling Kenyans that the data given by His Excellency the President, which data is correct, the one of the President and the one of the KNPS. At least we are in a place that at least we have made a progress, that Kenyans are making now debate of the progress made by His Excellency the President. Madam Speaker, I come from a region that has been a region that for so long has been denied the issue of ID. We have been discriminated. But I want to thank to His Excellency the President. He has made a bold decision and said Kenyans are one. There is no region A, region B. Now we are enjoying the fruits that the other Kenyans, the other regions are enjoying, courtesy of His Excellency the President, and I want to thank His Excellency the President. That is why if you see a single project being taken to Northern Eastern, today Kenyans are making funny about that. If you remember, Madam Speaker, on February when His Excellency the President visited that region, the Northeastern region, he has announced to the Kenyans and the region and the Northeastern region that starting from Siolo to Mandera, he will make sure before his term ends, he will tarmac that road. Immediately the Kenyans took fun because they never believed that this will happen. If you see the issue of teachers' employment, the region that I come from, Madam Speaker, before was a region that has been other Kenyans were being employed there. They create an insecurity issues. They will be recalled, the teachers, so we have been suffering. So we thank to His Excellency the President today, this decision that he has taken of teachers' employment, we are benefiting it. The issue of securitization, despite Kenyans despite the Kenyans criticizing this issue of securitization, Madam Speaker, but it is really working because the contractors are now back to the roads because of that securitization. Madam Speaker, the issue of SHA, the members of...
Thank you. The Honorable Mary Emase, member for Teso South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. From the onset, I also join my colleagues in thanking the President for a great speech on the address of the status of the nation. Madam Speaker, I was watching the address, the President addressing the nation in Washington, in New York, and I was like, wow, what a great speech. That is my President. Honorable Speaker, when I want to tell Kenyans is that when the President says he wants to put Kenya to its rightful place on the map of the world on matters development. He doesn't only mean it, but he's walking the talk, as I will demonstrate shortly. Honorable Speaker, I have listened to some of my colleagues, the doubting Thomases, trying to actually demean and downplay the speech of the president on the national address. And I want to say, it probably is for reasons known to themselves, probably it's because of where they are coming from. But for some of us who are coming from regions which have never seen development, and have seen development today, we have tarmac roads being done in Teso South, in Busia County. We are seeing huge water projects. We are seeing institutions. Teso South did not have a single college or university or institution of learning. Today, we are proud that we are also part of Kenya. I want to say, Hongera Rais. Honorable Speaker, from my little knowledge in finance and economics, I know that for you to grow a nation, you must look at human capital. I'm talking about education and skills of your people. You must look at physical capital. That is the infrastructure, which includes the roads and technology. You must leverage on your natural resources. You must have a stable political environment. And we see the president being a symbol of unity, preaching for unity, trying to unite the whole country, and in his speech saying every part of this country must get development. Honorable Speaker, you must support and boost entrepreneurs. We're seeing it being done, and the president articulated it in his speech, supporting entrepreneurs through the Nyota program, the Hustler Fund, and so many other interventions. And Madam Speaker, you must support trade, provide policy, legislation that encourages investors to come to the country and for trade to thrive. And I want to demonstrate how the president is working that, Honorable Madam Speaker. And allow me look at this from the perspective of the 5 key pillars of the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. Honorable Speaker, when you look at human capital and people investment, because you can't take the country. I want to show Kenyans how the president is not just talking, but he wants to take Kenya to where he's saying through action, through effort, which is demonstrated, which is factored in the budgets and all other interventions. When we say education, there is a lot going on, massive investments in education, in science, research, and innovation. I do not want to go into the details. My colleagues have spoken of the number of teachers employed and what have you. We're talking about the creation of the State Department for Science, Research and Innovation to scale up STEM education. That is action. We're talking about the ambition to raise funding for research from 0.8% to 2% of GDP. And also mobilizing public and private resources towards that cause. You cannot develop and grow without investing in research and development, so that your budget is anchored on evidence and data. Honorable Speaker, I beg for a few minutes, because I need to explain 1, 2, 3. Honorable Speaker, on the same, he is also, like I've mentioned, supporting a lot on entrepreneurship. 2, on agro-industrialization. Food security. It has been mentioned.
Please conclude so that you give others a chance.
Yes, there is also a lot being done on MSME economy. It has been mentioned here, supporting all that in that space. Honorable Speaker, I cannot talk about housing. We see mushrooming of affordable housing everywhere across the country, including Busia County, where I come from. Honorable Speaker, SHA. There are so many success stories that Kenyans can speak today and see how SHA is actually transforming the health sector. Honorable Speaker, we can speak energy. You can't grow the economy with...
Very well, Member for Teso South. The Honorable Mpuri Aburi, Member for Tigania East.
Asante, Madam Speaker. Yangu ni kusangia hotuba ya rais ya wiki iliyopita. Ilikuwa ni nzuri zaidi, Madam Speaker, kwa sababu tangu 1960s hatujawahi kuona rais ambaye amesimama na watu. Mimi kivyangu Tigania East tulimpigia Raila Amolo Odinga kura. tukiwa Simio, na wasaizi ikirundiwa kesho zote tunaona kwa William Ruto, kwa sababu aliweza kutuunganisha sote pamoja. Hakuangalia mahali ambaye hakupigwa kura na mahali alipigia kura. Ukiangalia for example, angalia Nyanza hakumpigia, ukiangalia Wiper hakumpigia, lakini anatoka hapa anaenda kukuda kwa Wiper, anatengeza kila kitu. Anakuja kwangu mimi mwenyewe Tikani ya East ambaye alikuwa ameshindwa na kura, ametengeza barabara ya Mikidu kuna 30 road, wale contractor kwa site. Affordable houses za Mikidu zitengezwa. KMTC kule Mudhara inaendelea kutengezwa. Huduma center ambaye zaidi tumepewa inaendelea kutengezwa. Kona zote anataka Tikani ya East na hakumpigia kura. Ndipo nasema kwamba ile kazi ambaye anafanyia wa Kenya ni kazi nzuri, na apangue asema kwamba huu ni Mkamba, huu ni Mmeru, huu ni Mluya, huu ni Mkaleji, wote wanaorganiza. Lakini nasema kwamba si tusema kwamba for example kuna mama wawili walienda kibarua kule industrial area, na mama wawili walienda kibarua pale industrial area, mmoja alikuwa na watoto 10, yule alikuwa na watoto 10 na mwingine ana mtoto. Jioni kafika, yule mwindi akamweleza kwamba eti ya kwamba nyinyi leo hampati mzahara kwa sababu nini? Sina pesa, nendeni nyumbani. Yule mama ambaye alikuwa na watoto 10 akutoka kwa ile mlango, alikuwa analia eti ya kwamba siwezi kwenda nyumbani kwa sababu sina kitu kupelekea watoto. Lakini yule alikuwa hana mtoto, alienda nyumbani akifurahi. Sisi watu wasifikiria kwamba tunamuunga William Ruto mkono kwa sababu yeye ndiye amesikilia kikabu nchi yetu ya Kenya. Nikiwa Mpono Mtwaburi, niko na watoto kwa mgongo wangu. Niko watoto wa Tigani ya East barabara. Niko watoto Tigani ya East education. Niko watoto Tigani ya East KMTC. Niko watoto Tigani ya East Huduma Center. Niko watoto Tigani ya East ambayo nataka kuinuliwa. Kwa hivyo naambia Wakenya eti ya kwamba ukiona sisi tunasupport serikali ndio iko na kikapu ambaye inaweza kuinua watu. Yangu ni kusema kwamba niko na support kubwa ambaye nampatia William Ruto kwa sababu yeye ameweza kuunganisha Wakenya. Yeye ameweza kusema eti ya kwamba ana mtoto wa mgongo wala tumbo, wote anaunganisha. Nikimalizia, Madam Speaker, Rais William Ruto uliangalia hapa, aliongea mambo barabara. Mheshimiwa kutoka upande wa Moyale na Ngaliza na Marsabit pale amesema kwamba barabara zitengezwa. Ukienda pale upande wa Waluya barabara zinatengezwa. Ukienda upande wa mahali kuna ODM ambaye kumpigia kura, barabara zinatengezwa. That means huyu jamaa anaweza. Angalia mambo ya mkate. Watu walikuwa wanaandamana pana sufuria kwa kichwa. Watu walikuwa wanaandamana mambo ya mkate, akisikilia mkate, wasaizi iko chini. Angalia mambo ya petroli. Hata mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa nimehuzika kwa sababu petroli. Wasaizi hakuna mtu anaongea mambo ya petroli. Angalia ndole ya nchi yetu ya Kenya ilikuwa 140. Wasaizi iko tuko sawa. So Madam Speaker, tasema kwamba ukimkataa mtu hata akiwa na mafuta, hawezi kusema kuna mafuta, unamtuvia vumbi. Kwa hivyo mimi kivyangu na support serikali ya William Samoei Ruto kwa sababu kazi yake ni kazi nzuri na inaonekana na Kenya. Wale ambaye hawaoni hii serikali hata ukiwafanya nini hawawezi. Na wale ambaye hawaoni hii serikali walikuwa kwa wakatula 1992 tuko na history ya Molo. 1992 tuko na history ya Molo bila hata ndugu misali. 1994 tuko na history ya Mama Matiba, ile kazi ambayo ilifanywa na Madio na wanajulikana. Kwa hiyo Madam Speaker, sisi hatutaki vita, tunataka amani katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, tunataka kuunganisha wa Kenya, tuwe pamoja kwa sababu Kenya ni moja. Asante Madam Speaker kwa kunipa nafasi hii. Thank you so much.
Asante sana. Mheshimiwa Joshua Mwalio, member for Masinga.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity that you have given me to be able to say something on the state of the nation address by His Excellency Honorable William Samoei Ruto on 20th November 2025. I want to start by saying that the President is the vision bearer of this country. And everybody that listened to him, he saw that he can take this country very far, given the opportunity and the space to be able to address the Kenyans, to be able to work for the Kenyans, and to be able to develop this country. What I see in the President is a man that has a vision that is in him, and he is able to do extraordinary things. The money that we are seeing that is developing this country had been there since time memorial. But things were stagnant. Projects were coming, were being stalled. But now we can see things are moving in a speed that we have never seen before. Having brought back the broad-based government, now everybody is getting a share of what they deserve, whether you are in the opposition, whether you are in which corner of the country, you are getting a share of the cake of this country. So there is goodwill in this president. And that is what we need to see and support. We cannot miss people that criticize. We cannot miss people that don't see anything that is being done well. But people, we shall still live with them. But as long as the president has the vision, we shall be able to go very far. I want to say that since the president took over, in 2022, the inflation was 9.6, as it was in his report. And now, as of October, the inflation was 4.6. That is a big drop. And it is able to help our people, because as long as the inflation is very high, then everybody will have a problem. Even purchasing power will not be there, because anything is, all their money is being consumed by the high inflation. Again, the president has been able to do even projects where there is opposition. All the constituencies are not, they are not left out. Whether you are in opposition, whether you criticize him, it is a Kenyan constituency. And therefore, all the people that live in that constituency, they are voters and they are Kenyans. And they have not been left out. The super highway that the president had started earlier, we can see that even in our constituencies, the ICT hubs are coming up, they are being equipped so that our young people who cannot fit in all the jobs can be able to sit there and they are living from the online jobs, be able to help themselves, be able to do whatever they are unable to do without a job. Talk about the agriculture, the fertilizer, which was very high, now it is low. Even me, I'm a benefit of that fertilizer. I was able to get my number, and the fertilizer comes, and then we are notified. And we get the fertilizer at 2.5 so that we can produce a lot. The last but not the least, the Nyota. The young people are able to get money through the Nyota, which was launched the other day. And they are going to be able to, by the end of the year, in 5 years, they will have gotten 820,000 young people working with the money that has been given by the Nyota initiative. So let's support the president, because the vision that he has will take us very far to the first world, as he had been able to promise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Honorable Joseph Lel Mengit, member for Mgwen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to congratulate and thank the President for his State of the Nation address that he gave recently. His role as the head of state is steering the country into the right direction. And they say, the Bible says, where there is no vision, especially in leadership, people perish. But we thank God for giving us the president, that he has the zeal, he has the power, and he has the strength, and also very intelligent in driving the agendas of this country and putting everyone in mind, from the young ones to the old. Honorable Speaker, first, I want to say the State of Address, Nation Address was just an enhancement of the Kenya Kwanza's plan that is in place. And he measured mostly on the three pillars, the four pillars, on food security, on roads, energy, and health, and additionally on education. Honorable Speaker, for any country to have an economic growth, we have to focus on these sectors, on food security, on roads, energy, and health, including education. Honorable Speaker, from his address, this was just an enhancement whereby we see the greatest problem we have in this country is oversupply of human resource or unemployment. We have qualified team and everything. But these people, especially the youthful generation, cannot get these jobs without the country intentionally spurring economic growth. And on this plan on issues of food security, the President was categorical in mentioning the creation of several dams across the country. In essence, we will have secured issues of food security and also on job creation to allow our youth work on this, exercise their knowledge, and also earn a living. Honorable Speaker, he also mentioned on issues of roads. Roads is a thorny issue, bad roads across the country, especially the congestion that we have along the Mombasa up to Malaba highway. Recently, people were stuck on the road. You would spend almost a whole day from here in Nairobi to Eldoret. So that was a plus for Kenyans, and we should celebrate the plans that the President has for us, including the roads back home in our various constituencies. I'm happy because we've waited for too long for the Kapsabet town, which is in Mgwen. We're yet to get the roads. Issues was on funding. Other plans that he has across the county and also across the country. The challenge now was funding. And I want to echo the funding models that the President came up on the special funds on different categories, whether roads, on road levies, on health, on other different sectors, Honorable Speaker. I welcome, because that is the only way that is practical and sustainable in funding these projects. He mentioned a total sum of close to 5 trillion, which I agree, because apart from food security on roads and energy, the greatest problem also that we have is high costs of production within our industries, whereby one of the contributing factor is energy, expensive power. So coming up with this idea that we have a long-term plan where we need to reduce the cost of energy so that we can have industries working on products cheaply is welcomed. Honorable Speaker, I want to agree with that 100%. Also on issues of health. Health, you see how SHA has been created, and currently, Honorable Speaker, for people to appreciate this is we have high registration of SHA members, more than close to 25 million. And initially on NHIF, Honorable Speaker, there were close to 4-5 million registered members. However, we have the government has streamlined the issues of SHA to benefit everyone, Honorable Speaker. It doesn't discriminate anyone. Those who have less money, those who have high money, how the President has structured on issues of SHA, I can see it's benefiting my people back home, and Kenyans are happy.
Thank you. The Honorable David Mboni, member for Kitwiru.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let me also say one or two things on this report by the President. And I think it was a good report, despite the inconsistency in data. And I don't know who is giving him wrong data or inconsistent data. Mr. Speaker, one thing I liked about this report is the proposal to invest or to put in 5 trillion Kenya shillings to infrastructure. And here infrastructure will include roads, electricity, and of course water supply in the country. And this is a very good thing. But I was wondering, I just been wondering in this country, we used to have Vision 2030, which is the economic blueprint, which of course we are not be following, because during the last regime, we came up with the Agenda 4, and this regime we came up with the better, that is bottom economic transformation agenda. But I think when you look at the Vision 2030, it was very, very well structured. There were very good proposals in that economic.
Honorable Mwalika.
Yes.
It's bottom up.
Bottom up.
Now, the moment you call it the bottom economic agenda, you may lose.
Bottom up economic transformation agenda. Yes. Thank you for that one. So, when you look at the Vision 2030, it is very good proposals. We had industrial zones, and I remember because I was part of the Vision 2030 group. I remember we used to have, we had proposed to have industrial parks. There was one which was supposed to be in Kano, and you remember we have a proposal to do a Grand Force Dam in Tana River. These are mega projects. So I propose that going forward, and to include the proposal by President, which is very good in terms of infrastructure, we need to have economic blueprint, because the Vision 2030 is ending in 2030. And when you talk with the Treasury, it's like they don't have any plan to have a blueprint. Because you see, a blueprint is a planning document, a long vision for the country. So even if after some time this regime is not there, the next regime will follow that, and it's going to help this country. So that's one thing I realized that we require. Madam Speaker, the issue of inflation is very good that inflation has gone down, but the real wage has gone down to 12.5%, according to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Economic Survey 2024. And one thing which has meant the real wage to go down is the taxations, the rate of taxation in our salaries and our income. It has really very good. It has really messed up our disposable income, and therefore, as a country, we need to relook at tax. Not only tax to individuals, but tax to businesses, which is crippling the businesses. Madam Speaker, 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, I was with the chairman of KRA. There's something called e-teams. When you supply something, immediately supply something, and you raise an invoice, KRA also send you an invoice to pay their taxes. And if you supply to government, I do know government takes long to pay. They start imposing penalties and everything, and therefore, at the end of the day, they remove your tax compliance, and that you cannot be able to even do any other business with that company or invoice another government. So we also need to look at the issues of taxation, issues of pending bills, which are actually crippling the businesses. Mr. Speaker, something before you, something very important. Yesterday, Governor Osendobango was here with the public debt, and he said we are reaching the level of debt distress. In fact, that's something which need to be very careful. Debt distress is a situation whereby you cannot meet our debts. You remember Ghana, Zambia, there's that kind of thing. And immediately we show signs we cannot pay our debts. We are done. I met in Zambia sometime 2003, and the minister was crying because he had not paid salary for 6 months. So immediately you show that you can't pay, even as an individual. So therefore, we need to do fiscal consolidation.
Thank you. The Honorable Beatrice Elachi, member for Dagoretti North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also rise to support the report and the address of the President. Madam Speaker, I'll be very brief. To really thank him and to appreciate that since the time of His Excellency, our third President Kibaki, and after the Vision 2030, I think each president has come in and ensured he picks up the pillars of Vision 2030 and moves with it. And therefore, when you look at the social pillar of the Vision 2030, we were meant at this time, Madam Speaker, to have changed our curriculum for education, which we have, to ensure you have schools in semi-arid areas, which we have really pushed with NCGDF, Madam Speaker, to ensure that within that social pillar, we will have what we call now the computer labs that we are told to come up with in every of our constituencies. And therefore, even as we speak to the president, we must ask ourselves from the county levels, what are we doing with Vision 2030, starting with the governors, Madam Speaker, so that that growth is not about just the national government. It was meant for Kenya. And we have some functions that were in Vision 2030 that are supposed to be done also by county governments. Madam Speaker, I was in Turkana. I would tell you I felt very sad that 14 billion since we started devolution has been there. People are still crying for water, Madam Speaker. People are still in hunger. I am like, why can't the governors, I'm just giving an example using Turkana because I was there, just do something for their people, even if you do not do anything else, but just give your people food and water. Madam Speaker, to the economic pillar, on the Vision 2030, and I'm putting this based on the address of the president, because I've had so many people saying the vision has been left. No, the vision is within what the president is bringing. We agreed in Vision 2030 that we shall have affordable housing. In fact, 200,000 houses. And so if the president has tried his best to bring it to where it is, then there's where we say, we critique saying this is happening, and we critique to tell the president this is not happening. But for now, it is happening. We have infrastructure. He has tried to now think through and say, let us securitize and have our own fund, which will support us. That's the promises we did in Vision 2030. He has to come up now with a task team, Madam Speaker, that will look at what have we achieved in Vision 2030 and what are we moving forward to Vision 2063 or Vision 2070. And so start that task force so that by Vision, when we come to the year 2030, we are able to say we have a blueprint that moves us forward. That is what we've done in the UN when we were doing the Millennium Development Goals, Madam Speaker. We moved with the SDGs. And so it is a matter of ourselves as a country to say we need a task force. The task force will tick and critique the boxes of what we have achieved, what we have not achieved, and move. Lastly, Madam Speaker,
just step in for surgery.
Director, I was the one who asked.
Taking out a corpse.
They say daughters look like fathers.